Okay, so like Ria said, we're sort of covering off a lot of the basics here because I believe that it's really important actually to get the foundation of what you're doing right. So hopefully you'll leave today with some tools that you can sort of run with and lots of materials that you will have gathered together to help you think more strategically about how you're going to market your business and then go and make the right decisions, basically. So we're sort of covering things off at quite a basic level. The first thing I want to talk about is the different types of marketing and advertising, because there are actually loads of options. There's so many different things that you can do. So what I'd like to do is we're gonna do another table exercise. On your tables, we'll keep you in the groups that you're in, I think, so we're a slightly smaller room than we were anticipating. What I'd really like you to do is on your flip charts that you've got, hopefully you've got pens there as well. Is to just come up with some, I'll give you some chunky pens, they're a bit more fun to write with. I want you to, on your tables, just have a talk about all the different kinds of marketing and advertising that you can think of. Be as thorough as you can, think of as many different, just scribble everything down that you can think of. And we'll give you a few minutes and then we'll see what you guys have come up with. Great, okay, so what was really interesting there was I saw you all sort of scribble down all the really obvious ones and then you start thinking a little bit harder about what else is out there. So what I'd quite like to do is we'll just go from table to table. I just want one thing from each of you that you've written down and then we'll just keep going backwards and forwards until we've exhausted ideas, and then there's a few bits that I'm going to see if there's any gaps that you've left. It'd be interesting. I'm not sure if there will be though, because there's an awful lot of things on both of your bits of paper. And then there's a few sort of kinds of marketing that I'd like to go in a bit more detail about because I think they're sort of interesting ways for people to market themselves. So if you guys want to start off, tell me what one of the things you've got.
We've got direct marketing, so that would include like emailing, texts and things like that.
Okay, anything else that would come in under that?
Leaflet.
Okay.
Is that posters?
Okay, so but quite a sort of general category we've got there, haven't we? Okay. But what about you guys? Give me one of the things you've got.
Social media.
Okay, tell me a bit more about that.
LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook.
Okay, yeah, so you've got loads of social channels, haven't you? You've got Pinterest and all sorts of social media that's available to market, and it will really just depend on what fits your business and your customers as well. Okay, another one from you guys?
Trade shows and exhibitions.
Lovely. You guys?
Billboards.
Okay, yep.
Bloggers.
Fab.
PR.
Yeah, okay, so
Print and radio.
yeah,
TV.
yeah, so there's lots you can do around PR. Getting editorials in magazines, newspapers, British press releases on your website can be a great way to just show people that you're being active. So another one from you guys.
Sponsorships.
Sponsorship, okay, so can you tell me a little bit more about sort of sponsorship that you're thinking about?
The local charities or like
Okay.
fashion shows.
Okay. Okay, so there may be events, there may be charities, okay, there may be, you can advertise around TV programmes and all sorts these days, can't you? Yeah, exactly. Lovely. Fab. Okay.
Got giveaways and freebies.
Yeah, yeah. Which ties in nicely with exhibitions as well. And it's always great if you can have a giveaway or a freebie that's a little bit different, and it's something I'm going to go into a bit more detail about in a minute.
Product placement.
Okay, so...
Like including your products on like a YouTube channel or TV or...
Lovely, okay.
Actually.
Yeah, so there's loads of quirky things you can do with video and product placement, isn't there? Yeah.
Industrial publications within your industry.
Okay, so we're like advertising in them, taking out ad
trade,
spaces.
Within the trade.
Yeah.
It's often quite a good way of getting links and generating links, isn't it?
Fab, lovely.
Website presence.
Yes, definitely.
Vehicle marketing.
Sorry?
Vehicle marketing.
Oh, okay, so like...
Billboards on vehicles that go around, like buses
Yep.
and trucks.
Fab. Oh, there you go. Look, there's one that these guys haven't got.
We've got outdoor marketing.
Outdoor
Okay.
A lot of these cross over, don't they?
They do. Oh, yeah, in almost everything. Your marketing really is not about lots of individual things. It's about having this sort of coherent marketing campaign that speaks to the right people and has lots of good, juicy brand consistency in it.
Down here, word of mouth, referrals.
Yep, most definitely, yeah. Are there any more that you guys have got that we've not said already?
Like online ads that's not your own website, so paying for like banners or
Yes.
like pop-ups and stuff like that.
Yeah. Did you guys get that one as well?
Somewhere, yeah. We've got a
Yeah,
lot of
so you've
stuff
got, there are
online.
loads of options for advertising online. So you've got pay-per-click like Google AdWords and stuff. You've got remarketing, you know, there's ads that follow you around the internet.
Yeah.
So I brought something online, I brought some chairs for our new office online, and now chair companies are following me around the internet everywhere. It's a bit strange. So there's loads of things that you can do, you know, with online platforms to help market yourself. So what else have you guys got?
Tattoos.
What, sorry?
Tattoos.
Tattoos? Okay, tell me a bit more about that. That's intriguing.
Washable tattoos.
Oh, okay.
So you could be delivering today and have a washable tattoo on your arm with your company name on.
Well, we've seen
And it's-
sportsmen with Nike ticks on their
Ah,
shoulders.
okay.
It stands out because
Yeah.
I look at it and it'll stick in
Yeah.
your head.
What's that?
Ties in with sponsorship a little bit as well.
So that you get
Yeah.
someone to follow your brand and
Yeah.
like bloggers and things like that.
Yeah, yeah,
That comes
yeah,
with
like
that.
pins and buttons and
Yeah.
stuff. And if you've got a funky brand, then people will lap that stuff
Yeah.
up, won't they? Okay, anything else you guys have got?
Everything else is probably like it comes under those headings.
Okay.
This promotional clothing.
Yep, yep. You see these guys have got their Epix shirts on.
Advertising, aren't they?
And telemarketing.
Yeah.
Telemarketing, yeah. Is there anything else on there then?
We've got
Did we say
lead generation through
Networking,
suppliers,
yeah,
which
definitely.
is a form of networking, but
Yeah.
generating lead through suppliers.
Okay.
Open days.
And
Yeah.
our
Yep.
Yeah, open
cooperative marketing.
Okay, tell us a bit more about that.
Working with another company, for example, if for trade shows are very expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, so if you've got two similar products
Yep.
or you're both attacking the same or market
Yes.
but with different products, then perhaps you can share the costs of marketing
Yep.
together.
Exactly, and that is something else that we'll talk about later as well. So yeah, fantastic. Lovely. Okay, so there's loads of things we've come up there, and actually I'm not sure there's anything really that anything on my list really that you guys haven't covered, so that's great. You see, there are so many options for marketing and advertising your business, and it's about figuring out who your customers are and where they are and which of those channels are the best ways for you to reach those people, basically. Okay, so there are a couple of things I want to talk about. The fact that print isn't dead. Yes, the digital age is growing and it's here and we've all got to embrace it, but print isn't dead. And actually, if you think about as a business how many emails you get, or even just as a consumer how many emails you get and how much email marketing you get, then on the flip side, think about how much you actually get through the post. I mean, our post box, where our office is remittances, invoices and checks. On the whole, we hardly get anything, any marketing through the post. So when we do, we notice it. And actually, we had a piece last week from a company that's moving. And they just sent out to all of their customers and potential customers and everybody that they know, a nice little leaflet. It was quite nice, actually, the way that it folded up. And you're kind of like, oh, what's this? And you open it up and you bother to read it because you don't get things like that anymore. So you're like, okay, well, while I'm walking to the car, I'll have a flick through and see what's there. And there are loads of statistics online as well that show that people are really receptive to print marketing as well, even consumers too. That they are actually, it's way over 50% of people say that they will pick up a leaflet that comes through the door and read it. So direct marketing can be a really great way to reach people. It also works really nicely if you know who you want to target. So obviously sort of mass direct mailing people will often mean that your conversion percentage is actually quite low, but it's quite cost effective. You know, large volume printing is still fairly cheap. And also getting somebody to deliver stuff is still fairly cheap. But if you know who you want to target, you know, it may be a buyer in a specific company or the CEOs of particular companies that you want to target, then you can, you know, refine your materials even more and go and target those people. And that's where lumpy mail comes in. So rather than just sending them a leaflet, send them something interesting. You're confused by the trainer, aren't you? I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. It can be a really great way to make a really positive impact. So if you've maybe got 15 people that you want to target, you know exactly who the person is within a business that you need to do business with, whose attention you need to get, target them. Go online, you know, or speak to your existing contacts, tell people who you're trying to get in with, because actually it's amazing how many people go, oh, actually, I know somebody that knows them, and you can start building those connections.
You can hit the relevant person.
Yeah,
Sample of
with
that.
something that really makes an impact as well, because obviously they especially if they're like a buyer or something, they're likely to be getting lots of samples and things through the post. So do something a bit quirky. This example came from a chap called Jeff Ram, and he's an observational marketeer. He does lots of speaking all over the world, but he also runs his own marketing agency. He's a really good speaker if you ever get a chance to see him. He's really like inspirational, motivational, and he has loads of great examples. So if he comes down to Leicester to do a talk, go and see him. So his name is Jeff Ram. He told a talk that I saw, he told this story. He was working with a trainer who wanted to sell their services into schools. So they knew exactly which schools they wanted to target, the ones that had enough money to pay for their services, the ones that were looking for those kinds of services as well. So what they did was they went to a shoe shop. They might have done it online, I don't know, but they went and brought 30 pairs of kids' trainers. They took the left one, they put it in a box, and attached to it was a note that said, "I hear you're looking for the right trainer." So they just did something a little bit quirky and a little bit clever, and they got really good conversion from that marketing campaign as well. Sometimes coming up with these ideas is obviously easier said than done. I do appreciate that.
What actually was the company though? What are they selling?
They were a trainer.
So they were selling.
Yes, they were selling training. Yeah, so not shoes. They were selling. Yeah. So they thought, okay, you know. Obviously they had Jeff's help, which helped massively because he's great at coming up with things like this. But they just came up with something a little bit different to get people's attention, and it got their attention, and they went, "Oh, okay, that's very funny," and they bothered to read more because you're intriguing them, you're getting their attention. So that works really well when you know who you want to target. Think of something amazing to send them. Don't just send them a pen with your logo on, because that's not going to get anybody's attention. And if you can come up with like a middle ground idea, that can work really well at exhibitions and things as well. So everybody, don't put chocolates on your stand. Everybody puts chocolates and mints on their stand, and all you'll see is people coming along. It's amazing to watch, it really is, and grabbing handfuls and shoving them in their bag and walking off is something else. It really does amaze me. So put something there that's a little bit more interesting, that gets people's attention, that is at least different to what everybody else is giving away, and you will just get people's attention. Well, that would get people's attention, maybe not in the right way.
Certainly get you attention.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things we did, we don't do that many exhibitions, but one of the things we did at a local marketing expo was we, obviously given everything that we do, it's all sort of internet and digital related. I have these stupid ideas sometimes, and then Will, my partner, sort of reins them in and makes them practical. And this idea we had eventually turned into having a tabletop racetrack that was called the Great Internet Race. And we had a leaderboard and a box of chocolates. Unfortunately, it was just a box of chocolates. We were a bit restricted on time. But people could then, and we attached a GoPro to the top of the car so that we could record people's laps and timed them, and just had a leaderboard. And people were coming over to the stand because they wanted to go. And then they were interacting with our brand. So if nothing else, they were coming to our stand. They were aware we were there, and potentially gave us an in and an opportunity and an icebreaker as well. Yeah, what Jeff Ram does at his is he has I think it's something new he started doing. He has, you know, those buzzer things that you get where you have to move the loop around the metal and you have to try not to make it buzz. I can't remember the spin he puts on it, but he does relate it back to his business, and he's got a huge one. It's massive, and he gets people to do that. And he's got pictures, you know, if you see him talk, you'll see he's got pictures of people gathering around it and watching other people doing it and wanting to have a go. So there's loads of things you can do to get people's attention, and you can apply that into other places, not just exhibitions as well, to make yourself look a bit more quirky. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was telling your stories. I think businesses in general are actually quite bad about shouting about themselves because, of course, you naturally just want to be a little bit modest and you don't want to come across as big-headed. And telling your stories is a great way to show transparency, that you're active, you're engaging with people, you're doing stuff within the community. We've got a dessert business client that says, "Oh, I've got nothing to talk about." She takes on apprentices regularly. On a regular basis, she gets apprentices into her business. Brilliant. What an amazing thing to do. She's supporting young people, getting young people, you know, that don't necessarily know what they want to do into employment. So there's loads of little things. If you're growing, if you're moving offices, if you've got a fantastic new client or you've done something a little bit different, tell people about it. And there's loads of ways you can tell people about it.
So much easier now, isn't it?
Yeah, video is a great way to get messages across. Even if you're just you're out and about and you're doing something and you're snapping video clips on your phone, you know, it's just slightly more engaging content to stick on that news post you're going to pop on your website. Newspapers are actually gagging for stories about local businesses, your local press. Get in touch with them when you've got some news. Getting your own press releases, you can write your own press releases, but actually if you can find an independent PR person, they're not that expensive. So we get somebody to write our press releases for us. The main reason is that she has all the contacts. So she will write us a press release and she will send it to all of the relevant places. And sometimes it features in a newspaper or a magazine. Sometimes we'll at least get onto their online channels because it's so easy for them to do. And then that story will likely be tweeted, and then all of our contacts and potentially all of the other people that didn't already know about us see that tweet, and you know, they go and click on the story, and even if they don't read the full thing, it's another sort of brand point of contact. Yes, Will?
I've got a question.
Okay.
Getting a PR person to do that, what sort of range of money are we talking?
I think we pay around the £100 mark per press release. But again, she gets that out to everywhere that it needs to go. And she'll even come and do the photos if we need her to as well. So if we're really pushed for time, it's just easy because she comes along with her husband and he snaps some cheesy photographs.
Can I just interject a tiny bit?
Mhm.
I do this
Okay.
as a living.
Lovely.
So my textiles things.
Yeah.
That's a really, really good price. The average price is about 150 quid.
Okay.
And not everybody specialises in different industries.
Yeah.
So if you found someone that's particularly for yours, that's
Yeah.
great. But in the textile industry, there aren't many
Yeah.
people. So having recently listened to the editor of Craft and Design magazine, for example, talking, editors are very, very snobby about what they receive
Okay.
and what they read and what they put straight in the bin.
Yeah.
So key to it is photography. So if you haven't got a good
Instant
photo,
impact.
Yeah.
if it's not good, it'll go straight in the bin. They won't even read the press release.
Yeah, that everything that's published needs a good photograph to go with it, and
Yeah,
if they
if
don't,
it's
they're not
clear-
gonna print it without a photograph.
Even if the photograph's fantastic and the text is rubbish,
Mm.
they'll
Just get the
ring
photo,
you because
yeah.
they want to use the photograph to write their own text.
Yeah,
Um,
they like pictures of people as well.
yeah.
So just a photograph of your building is not enough. Get
Really
everybody
resonates
outside it.
with ourselves, I'm not going to bang on about my business, I don't want to bore you, but it really resonates. We recently manufactured a football scarf
Mhm.
for a group of people that have connections with a horse
Mhm.
called Side Grugy. Side Grugy won the Cheltenham Gold Cup, and there was a photograph in the national press of Camilla with one of our scarves around her neck.
There you go.
Fab.
And we have not used that. Do you know what I
Right,
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, you have to. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it was there. Oh, isn't that nice? Blah blah
Yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
And then we're on to the next story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean that would have some impact.
Yeah,
Oh, 100%.
it's-
Now you need permission from the
Exactly. Now
photographer.
this is a murky area. Isn't
Yeah,
it?
because the copyright is with the photographer,
Hmm.
so you'd need to have written permission for them
But if
to.
he's an independent and he's just sold it to the paper, we've got to get it. He owns the image
Technically,
Not
rights.
it's
always.
Or
necessarily
would
Yeah.
she
right,
own
so-
her own image rights?
No,
This is-
no, she wouldn't own it.
Okay.
The photographer owns it.
Yeah.
If they could sell that copyright to the newspaper on an exclusive basis or on a license basis.
Hmm.
So.
I mean, how would they respond, do you think, in your experience? Because if we
varies.
manufactured that, we'd
Yeah.
like to use
I've got
it.
to lose. I'd pick the photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would they
Don't know
fly
unless you
into us
ask.
and say we want money from you? Or
Possibly, but it'd be
what you got
worth
to lose?
it
Oh, God, yeah.
because the equivalent advertising spend would be massive
Hmm.
if you get that into
Oh,
6 or
God, yeah.
7 publications.
Yeah.
Well, we've got a lot of instances like that. It's
Yeah.
just having the knowledge of how to use it.
Yeah.
And then the moment's gone. You think the moment's gone. I mean, life's a catalogue of missed opportunity, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, we miss these opportunities all the time because
Well,
we're too busy trying to make a living.
I'm
I
just
think,
saying.
I think we're the same here.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You-
so
you-
a lot
Yeah.
of our jumpers make it on celebrities,
There you go.
and we see them like Christmas jumpers in particular.
Yeah.
And that time you just don't know how to react because
You go, oh wow, that's
technically
good, and then
you've
the
sold
next thing.
that jumper to
Yeah.
a client
Yeah.
Yeah.
who then has paid for that service. So that's
Mm.
technically not ours anymore.
No, but the
And so
way
it's-
of doing it is to gift those jumpers to celebrities or through a
I
stylist.
mean, we had Jamie Oliver wearing one
There
of
you go.
ours.
There you go. There you go. Get
But
in.
you could use that in vlogs and stuff. No one would have any issues.
That's
Yeah.
why I stood up, because you can talk to the photographer and get the rights. Absolutely, you can reprint it, you can reuse it, and that's brilliant. Even if you haven't done that, reblogging,
Yeah.
talking about the
And
fact that
linking
someone
back
else's
to their
article is there,
website, yeah.
linking to it.
Okay.
You don't need any
You
rights.
don't need
No.
to actually produce it yourself. You
Tweeting
say,
a
oh,
link
have a
to-
look at that. We did that.
Once it's
Absolutely,
in
tweeting a
public
link.
eye,
You can comment on it.
It is
There's
a
nobody can
public
stop
idea.
you commenting on it and going, oh, this is really cool. We saw so and so doing this. Here's a full
Yeah.
press
Credit
release.
it
We
back
have-
to
sorry.
whoever the photographer is, or whoever said, well, look at this. But yeah,
There was a band on X Factor wore some hats that we didn't know that it was for this band. It's gone through an agent, through somebody
Yeah.
else, through somebody else,
yeah.
and they're wearing these Bronx hats with badges on. A couple of years ago, you know. And again, we saw they were on the national
Yeah,
TV.
yeah.
Everybody's watching
Yeah.
it, and we're thinking, we made that. What about us?
Absolute
Yeah.
minimum. You have
So
to
comment on
tweet,
it.
We did that, and
Yeah.
a link to where
Yeah.
it already exists on the web.
Worst case scenario,
That's
someone's
right.
going to write to you or email you and ask you to take it down, and you take it down. It's very, very unlikely in these cases that somebody's going to just slap a lawsuit on you immediately. They
And then
have
say, "Please don't
they
use
have
that."
to ask you to,
Yeah.
and then you just remove it.
But once it's
Um,
out there, isn't it? It's
Well,
like-
yeah.
Online, once it's in the public eye, it's kind of gone, if that makes sense. So
I
it's
understand.
already there.
Yeah.
So so long as you're not purporting to that image being yours,
Exactly
then
that.
you're fine.
And all this
Okay.
all this effort, it builds it builds this visibility for you basically. And then what it may well lead to is I mean, we've been featured, again, it was only on a local level, but in some editorial stuff in local magazines, which is great for us. We do a lot of business locally, we do a lot of business nationally, but we do a lot locally, and we've worked hard to build our reputation in Lincolnshire where we're based. And we got asked to be featured in that because we're really visible, because we tweet a lot. It is hard, I admit, to keep on top of it, but we tweet a lot and we make ourselves visible and we get press releases out there when something's happening. So then when they went, okay, we want to do a feature on young people in the area in business, or what young business owners do we know? They thought of us. I don't even think we know directly the person that was organising the editorial, and I don't even think it was a magazine we'd been featured in for any reason before either. But they thought of us and we got asked. And it's all, you know, if you're tweeting about the fact all these celebrities are wearing your jumpers, you know, the right trade magazine or whatever might just stumble across that and go, we've got a feature coming up that they're perfect for.
Yeah, we often think, as a small, well, I do, I don't know if I'm typical, but we often think, well, who'd be interested in that?
Lots of people would be interested.
You know, and you don't
Everybody
realise,
else is
do
more
you?
interested than you think they
Yeah,
are.
exactly
You just
that.
got to give them the reason to be
Yeah,
interested.
exactly. Then you're on- yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
So yeah, it kind of all just sort of, they all just sort of tie in together quite nicely. So yeah, anything that you do press release wise or that you put onto your website, if you're on social media, you know, push it out there. It's a really easy way to just tell people. We've had some artwork done for our new office, and the amount of retweets we got on that over the weekend, because we were there while it was being done, was ridiculous. Way better than I thought it would. It can really surprise you sometimes. Sometimes you'll put stuff out there and it'll be completely ignored and you're like, oh, nobody loves me. But sometimes you'll put something out there and it'll just take momentum, and it's great. And it's great for your business, so definitely. Okay, right, so what I'd quite like to know is, we've sort of talked about all these different kinds of marketing, and we've listed loads of different things that you can do. I'd quite like to just do another little table exercise, and then we'll feed back and know what you guys do already in terms of marketing, and actually what things you think are there that you could actually do, even if you feel you need to know more about them, but things that actually would be viable for your business, to sort of help project it forward a little bit. So we'll just give you a few minutes on your tables, and then we'll feedback. Fab. We're going to go for a quick break in 5 minutes, but what I'd quite like to do first is just get some feedback from you. I think it kind of varies a little bit, so it entirely depends, I think, on how the two tables want to do it. If you want to feedback slightly differently, I've got absolutely no problem with that, because I know you've found it a lot easier to collectively group your stuff together, whereas you guys have found that you're all very different in the way. So if it's entirely up to you guys, you can feedback individually if you want, or you can feedback as a table. Yeah, just tell me about what the sorts of things that you're doing at the moment, and any ideas, the initial ideas that you've come up with that may be applicable to you going forwards.
Guys, do you want to do it? I'll do it if you like. I'm not bothered. I like to talk. Okay, well, what we've done here is we've got two lists, short lists of the core marketing strategies that the majority of us adopt. and they consist of website, social media, cards and is that
Business
networking?
cards and
Business
networking.
cards, networking, emailing, telephone sales, PR, local press, and exhibition.
Okay,
And we've all done some, if not all, of those.
so there's
you know,
there's
as a
quite
table.
there's quite a bit there really
Yeah,
that you're
but-
sort of doing
I mean,
as
I
a
haven't-
mix.
Personally, I haven't done all of those. So,
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
but between us, that's the
Okay.
majority now.
So what kind of social media use is happening on the table then?
To Facebook.
Yeah,
Twitter.
Facebook. Facebook page.
Twitter. They're the two that, well, I've used some more. Yeah, a little bit. I haven't done much in this one, just a little bit, but yeah, mainly Facebook and Twitter.
And do you find them useful?
Yeah, but it's all paid for now, so you need to pump budget behind what you're doing to really get the reach. And different
Yeah.
platforms are different. You can use them to attract different audiences. It's really
So
having a
rather
strategy.
than sort of setting up a page on Facebook, for example, and just promoting to people, you're using the ad systems within those as well, are you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we use Google AdWords. Sorry, I didn't put that. As you guys
Yeah.
do as well, yeah.
Do you find Google AdWords works?
Pay per click, and it does work.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Fab.
very much so.
What, in
Not cheap.
terms of growing your audience or in sales?
Sales,
Okay.
sales, purely sales. That's what we're aiming at. You know.
And is that online sales for like one scarf or
No,
one hat?
it's
or-
for aimed mainly at organisations, clubs,
Okay.
etc. Yeah, no, as I say, that's where. On the other side, that's why we're looking at.
Yeah,
Excuse
yeah.
me. Just sneeze in there, sorry.
But it works. They do work.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
do
yeah.
work because,
But
but it's all
business
down
to
to the
business, that's
keywords.
interesting.
It's all down to the what your listing is.
Yeah,
And we picked up a lot of business from schools. We never used to make scarves for schools.
yeah,
Now we get calls most days.
yeah.
We'll get a small. You see, a lot of it's down to the buyers though. Some buyers are lazy, and some buyers are very proactive. Some people are very good at spending other people's money, and some people don't care when they're spending other people. When they call themselves buyers, the good buyers will do some work.
Yeah.
And instead of going to William Turner, who are a big school uniform supplier, and
Yeah.
getting a scarf, a hat, a blazer, trousers, socks from one place, they'll get busy and they'll buy the blazer from a blazer manufacturer, they'll buy a jumper from a jumper man, they'll buy the scarf from a scarf manufacturer. And they get best value that way.
Mhm.
And that's who we're aiming at, the proactive buyer. And
Okay.
it works. It works. Google Ads work.
And do you manage your Google Ads yourself?
Not really. My partner does it. So.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
And
and are we
even-
finding that's the case? Is that the case with most of the marketing that people do? It's all internal.
Oh, it's done
Yeah.
internally. Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
It's not outsourced.
Yeah.
No, we do it. We've got an account.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
send us figures once a month. Happy days. We pay
Cool.
the bill.
Yeah.
Seems to work.
Good. It's
And
good. It
then-
works for you.
We came up with a list of what we'd like to do more of.
Yeah.
Mm.
One of those is sleep.
Would be nice.
That's not really a form of marketing, but okay.
Yeah.
Best ideas do come while you sleep.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Then we said we'd like to do more social media, and I think for me, I'd like it to be more effective. Really, at the moment, it's about exposure, but it needs to translate into sales,
Yeah.
and that's what I need to focus on. E-commerce, direct sales needs to be more visible, which
Okay.
is difficult in this massive World Wide Web. That your e-commerce
Yeah.
website's going to stand head and shoulders above everybody else's.
Mm.
And then more time, which kind of relates
Mm.
back to the sleep thing, to focus on and not in the business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a challenge I think every business owner has, is making sure you've got that time to look at your business strategically and your marketing
One less difference
strategically.
there, but it's a massive on or not in.
Yeah,
It's so true. That is.
exactly. Fab. Okay, so how would you guys prefer to feedback individually, or do you want to feedback as a table individually?
Individually.
Yeah. Do you want to start then? Janet?
Just mine is a online web store, so I already got like full functioning e-commerce
Mhm.
web store. We've got blog on there, so we blog about, because it's evening clutch fair, so people go on special occasion, Ladies' Day, what is the next early horse
Fab.
trials,
Yeah.
things like that. We've got Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, but it's very different strategy we find on different platforms.
Yeah.
So Facebook, we just put like lots of interesting news and like the rate you pay Facebook to promote it. We do price draw, so you click and share and comment on something, and you select with the different apps, and then you got pick the person, and then you
Yeah.
send them, and then they tweet it back. Oh yeah, I've got 5 bags from you, and thank you very much. Things like that. Twitter, I've really struggled because it's constant. You have
Yeah.
to put at least. You can bombard them
Mm.
10 tweets a day and they don't read it or they get annoyed, and then you have to do like sometimes 9 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock when people are sitting home. Timing is very crucial, I
Yep.
think. Instagram, I try to do more, but this is hard. This is what I try to get a customer. Got a bag, they go at night out, take a photo with a bag, selfie, and then put it back on my Instagram. So I give them a 10% discount code.
Right, yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to do. I don't have YouTube, but YouTube is really important to me to open the bag, take the straps out, and show them like the ASOS catwalk style. But
Yeah.
I really struggle. I don't want to. My English rubbish, so I don't want to describe. Open the bag, and I haven't got nice hand to showcase the bag.
On the flip side, ASOS, I think it was ASOS, did a campaign, I think it was quite a while ago, it might have been a couple of years ago, where they, I don't know whether there was some kind of incentive, whether they incentivised it in any way, but they got their customers to send Vine videos of them unboxing their orders. So you get your customers to do it for you. Find some way to get your customers to do it for you, and then you don't have to be on camera. Get them, incentivize it, get them to record a Vine video or an Instagram video, gives you a little bit more time because it's 14 seconds, I think, and get them to post things, and then they get a discount off their next order or something, and get other people to do it for you. And then all you've got to do is promote the offer and hope people do it, really, and make sure it gets out to the right people.
The next thing I want to do is the send the free bags to bloggers and stylists.
Yes.
However, I don't know who to target because there's bloggers with 5,000 followers. There's 10,000. There's 10,000. They're not interested to do it for me, and you have to pay them as a service to. Yeah, please do it for me.
I think
so how do you tackle that? And then sometimes you give them free stuff, they don't feed back to you.
They know how much influence they've got now.
That will happen.
Like they used to, just take
I think you're going to have to account for a contingency of loss there because it will happen, but I think your best bet is to just start writing to them and ask, because then you'll start to get a feel for who's actually interested in helping. If you can spot any rising stars as well, try and get in early before they get, and you've got to remember as well that some of their followers may not actually be genuine followers. I know people on Twitter especially, and I'm sure you will have come across this as well, and they've got a very rounded number of followers, and you're like, hang on, and it happens on YouTube as well. There's a certain number, that they can buy batches of views, and I think it's like, was the first one, we'll all know, like 120 or something, isn't it? 1,200. And one of our customers went and brought views, and they had like 1,205 followers, and you're like, well, that just kind of, and you can look at the analytics now openly as well, and just kind of spiked overnight. You're like, well, they didn't do any marketing around it that's visible, so they probably brought them.
I mean, they've had 5 views and 12
on YouTube, yeah. Yeah, you can go. I don't know. Again, Will, you'll know. I don't know how detailed it is.
This is mean, isn't it? Talk to the man behind the camera.
This is why I stand here. So if you've uploaded a video and allowed the stats to be shown, just below you'll see 3 boxes. I believe it's.
I think it allows them by default as well, so a lot of people will have left it on.
Stats. So if you click stats, you'll see a graph of when the views have happened, if they've allowed it. So when you know if someone has bought views, is if the graph isn't nice and smooth, it's when it goes dink, flat, dink. So some really big brands, you can now go on and see their stats because they don't realise they're doing this because they pay an agency. And you'll notice that they've bought huge amounts of views.
It's those straight flat lines that are the giveaway. Because it might be that for some reason overnight it's gone a success, but then you'll see it doing that. There'll be some kind of a curve in it.
One of our massive industrial clients, they're international, their YouTube channel has a video with 3 million, 2 million, 1 million, 750,000 and then 1,000 views, 1,500-ish. So you look on those top 5 and they've all been promoted. So it's only when you know that.
But it can be insightful. Okay, should we move around? Because I'm aware that we need to get on for a break, otherwise we'll be having a break and then lunch straight away.
Well, I work for a manufacturer, but we're doing, I'm a recent fashion marketing graduate, so I've been brought in to kind of launch a new project. So we're doing like an online fabric store. It hasn't launched yet, but basically I've designed the website. I have someone who does it all for me, but I design it and he does the AdWords and stuff. But I'm going to concentrate on the social media side, because obviously I've got the time to do it, so I want to make sure I'm doing like kind of more personalised posts and things like that. So I've done the website. I'm going to do like a customer engagement page with like they can send us what they've made with their fabrics, and then I'll pin them up on there. I'll link it to like Facebook, Twitter. I haven't got Instagram because we need an iPad or something. Pinterest, and I've got a blog, so we'll be doing like how to do this tutorials. And I'm going to send out press packs. I'm going to think of something, like you said, more quirky. But then I'm going to contact bloggers separately, so I'm not going to do a mass thing, because I've done it before, contacting bloggers, it's best to be personal. So if you say, oh, I've noticed your blog post about this,
Because they'll get loads of generic ones and
yeah.
it'll delete. I get them.
They reply back and they say, oh, thank you for noticing my blog, like, I'm glad you like the blog, yes. Or they sometimes they still say no, but they're nicer about it and they do reply.
Yeah.
So I found that that's a better way to contact bloggers. And obviously if you offer them, like I can offer some fabric and things. And I'm also contacting universities separately, like that'll be a different kind of press release, and offering like 15% off student discount. And I'm going to try and do like behind the seams, so it's like a play on words, and I want to do like a lot of behind the scenes, because fabric can be quite, obviously it's quite boring, there's not much you can...
There's loads you can do with it.
It's not like fashion, like
Yeah.
fashion and things like that, so I'm going to try and do like more about the team, and I've done like a page on the website where it's meet the team, and we do like funny faces and things like that, so I want to make it a bit more like personal and about like the team as well as just the fabric.
With your pack that you're going to send out,
Yeah.
if you can think of something useful to the people that you're sending it to that's made from your fabric, that might be quite cool.
Yeah, because originally it was just going to be fabric swatches, but now you've said that, I want to think of something. So yeah, that's a good idea. I want to think of something like that they might be able to use.
Yeah, or something that they'll keep on their desk.
Yeah.
Because then you're
Well,
just there
that's
forever.
yeah.
And if it's quirky and different enough, they may then get it. We did a campaign for a client, and they sent out video mailers, which aren't really that quirky especially in our eyes. But a lot of people, they're not sending them out because they're actually not that cheap to send. And people got them, and then they got within a week. They got I think 8 leads. And I think 3 conversions within a week of sending this campaign out. And people then get it and they tweet about it because it's cool.
Yeah.
They go, oh wow, look what I've just got. It's like if you ever send out corporate gifts at Christmas, if you've got customers that are active on social media, we got our own wrapping paper made. It's just got a logo plastered all over it, and the first year we did it, loads of people tweeted because of our wrapping paper.
Yeah, we're making sure
Doesn't take
everything's
much
quite
sometimes.
cute, and like we're making our own tags and like tissue paper and ribbon, so that, like I said, people do go, oh cute, or I've received in the post.
Yeah. Cool. Okay.
At Basic Primary, I'm just manufacturing jersey wear. The only thing that we've actually got just now is a bog standard website, which is just basically a reference point for whoever feels the need to go on and Google the company. What we find is in terms of reaching retailers and reaching buyers, it's quite hard to sort of kind of get those details. So the specific type of marketing that you need to do is, it's kind of hard to sort of kind of get your head around it. I mean, apart from going on to different people's websites and finding their contact details if you can get them, or their contact form as such, and typing out a basic email and just firing out to as many different people as you can. It's almost quite hard to sort of kind of approach it, but again, like you said, you can only what I feel is if you can only kind of sort of highlight what you do, and hopefully people then to build up that interest in it, whether it be on social media, whether it be in YouTube, whether it be these different avenues that we're sort of talking about, and hopefully the right people sort of pick up on it.
Yeah. Have you thought about implementing some sort of LinkedIn strategy?
I've not. Just spoke to Sandeep about it there, and he was saying, it's actually really good. You should.
If you're looking to connect with people in specific roles, then go onto LinkedIn, build your network full of people that you know in the industry, and then start looking at who they're connected to. And it might be that the person you ultimately want is a 3rd level connection, but if you can get the person you know really well to introduce you and get to know that other person really well, and then get them to, then you're going to get it. It's not always a quick way of doing it, but it can actually be a much better way of doing it because you're getting a personal introduction to somebody. And I think that it's always easier to do business with somebody if you have some kind of sort of predetermined relationship somehow, even if it's through somebody else. So that might, if you're looking for buyers within specific companies, the search on there is pretty good as well. We've been using it recently to look for specific kinds of businesses for the time-lapse services that we offer. And you can search by job role and all sorts. And if you want a period where you want to, really intensely search and make the most of it, I don't think there are that many features on the pro version anymore that are particularly appealing. But there may be certain search features, for example, that are going to be really useful to you. Buy a month's pro license, or I think sometimes they offer out free month trials. Yeah, you use it and try and make it work for you. And then if actually it's not making that big an impact compared to the free version, drop back down to the free version. But the free tools are getting better all the time. They seem to be doing the opposite to everybody else and making their free stuff better and their pro stuff not that appealing. There you go. So yeah, that might be a strategy worth looking at if you know who you want to target.
We manufacture as well, so we don't really target the end customers. I mean, all we have is just a basic website. Like I said, I've used LinkedIn and it does seem to work. I mean, in social media, I think that's the only one that we have.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we probably will look at some of the others.
We've tried Facebook, but on Facebook you're pretty much connected to friends,
Yeah.
and they're no good when it comes to business.
Yes, Facebook tends to be better if you're targeting consumers.
Yeah.
We don't tend to use Facebook for our business because we're doing business with other businesses, and actually a lot more of those potential customers are using Twitter and LinkedIn than are using Facebook. So it's sometimes just not worth the effort.
No, it's not. So I think it's quite difficult to get to the end person that we need to get to. They're always changing as well, because people move on quite quickly when you're a buyer.
But I think that's where LinkedIn's quite good, because it shows you who everybody is and what their job is in that company, so it's always quite good.
One of the things we're trying to do more of when we get into companies is make sure we build connections with more than one person. So that hopefully if somebody leaves, they take you with them, but you still have your in with the other company, because that's caught us before in the past, that people have left. They've gone into a role that they can't necessarily take us with because that company's got suppliers they already want to use, and then you don't know anybody else. And you fall down for it. So if you can make a relationship with the person that's higher than that buyer, or their assistant that's not necessarily going to go with them, and it may be their assistant that often is the barrier to you getting to that person anyway, so there might be a good person to get to know the gatekeeper.
Exactly that, the guy in the warehouse.
Yeah.
My stepfather, who started the business that we've now taken on, was very good at, I used to call it pressing the flesh.
Yeah.
And long before social media existed, he would make a point of giving little gifts at Christmas and finding out when the babies were born and blah, blah, blah. And the other reps would sit in reception, never get to see the buyer. Norman would go straight in, and Sarah or whoever the secretary was, they tend to stay longer than the buyer. As you rightly point out, buyers here today, gone tomorrow, because if they're not spending the company money, well, they're gone, aren't they? Or they may move on. But he always got in the door, because he knew Fred in the warehouse, and he knew Julie on reception, or whatever, It's so true. Now, whether you can do that electronically as well via LinkedIn and build a virtual relationship instead of an actual real one, it's still a real relationship, you know what I'm saying? It's invaluable. It's invaluable, because people can be gone tomorrow.
And there's loads of ways you can build those relationships online. If you connect with that right person on LinkedIn, try and find out if they're on Twitter and follow them on Twitter as well, and try and engage with them. So create a separate list, and you can do it in LinkedIn as well. You can tag people, create a separate list and monitor those people that are really interesting to you, so that if they say something that you can respond to, it's just an excuse to have a conversation with them, even if it's completely unrelated. You figure out they like football and you like football, great. yeah, it is. And that's how you build relationships, isn't it?
Doing what's been done by good salesmen
Exactly.
for years and years.
Exactly. Just finding a way to do it online, because they're not necessarily on your doorstep.
Nobody's got time.
The only thing with LinkedIn is sometimes you're inundated with so many emails, like offering you things. You just look at them and go, oh, delete.
You can switch off your notifications. It's difficult to manage, and I wouldn't recommend. I mean, you can, and actually we did it and it did work. We did directly try and connect with some people that we were interested in. But I think the important thing is that when you're requesting that connection, you're telling them why you want to connect, and just go, look, we're running, and then even if you just say, we'd really like some advice so you don't look salesy. One of the tips I was also given, just while we're talking about LinkedIn, is if somebody sends you because I'm really on the fence about accepting requests from people that I don't know and that I've never met, because normally they just want to sell to you. we were given this quite good tip by somebody who specialises in LinkedIn stuff the other day, and he said have something prepared, you know, that even if you don't send the whole thing, you can copy and paste bits from. When somebody requests a connection, accept it, and before they get a chance to send you a message to sell to you, send a message to them. And then they'll either bugger off because they realise that they can't sell to you because you beat them to it, or you know, you never know, you might engage them in a conversation. So that's quite a good tactic. If you find you're getting lots of those and you're not sure who you should and shouldn't connect with, beat them to it.
That's a good tip, Patrick.
Right, I'm going to pass you over to Will for a minute and then we will be having a break. Okay. We've only got half an hour until lunch, so I'm going to interrupt your conversations. Yeah, and we're going to make sure you get your whole hour at lunch because you guys are clearly valuing the networking opportunity. Okay, so it doesn't matter what kind of marketing that you're doing, you need to know who you're targeting. So every piece of marketing that you're doing has to have a reason. You have to know who you're trying to speak to. So whether that's direct to a customer or to a buyer, you need to sort of refine it even further than that. So if you're direct to consumer, who are those consumers? Are they male? Are they female? What age group are they in? What do they do as hobbies on the weekend? Where do they shop? And what do they do for work? What car do they drive? Lots of little things like that can help you build a really good profile of your ideal customer. Now, you may have a really wide customer base, but the chances are you still have a target market or a most likely market, or businesses that you want to appeal to, businesses that you want to do business with, those businesses that are easiest to work with. So we have a massively wide customer base, but there are businesses that are easier for us to work with. There are businesses that are more profitable to us. There are businesses that we can have a bigger impact on and give better value to. And they are probably our targets. Whilst we have a wide market and ultimately we feel everybody is a target market, in certain things that we do, we are targeting certain kinds of businesses. And that may break down through to your services as well. So again, just to use ourselves as an example because it's easier, with the time-lapse stuff that we do, we're largely targeting the construction industry. So it may be that you have different products and services that appeal to different audiences, or will appeal to different organisations if you're trying to build stockists and speak to buyers and things like that. So what I want to have a think about before lunch is who your customers are and who those really important customers are. So we're going to start just by working in our tables again, and I want you guys just to spend a few minutes talking about who your customers are, who you do business with, and who you feel your target audience is. Then what we'll do is we'll regroup quickly, and then I want you to, what we'll be doing after that is we'll be working in your workbooks and just sort of refining who those ideal people are that you want to get hold of. And even if it's a buyer in some way, you know, who is that person? What is their job role? What kinds of businesses are they looking for? Who works around them? Do they have an assistant? Just start refining exactly the picture of that person, because if you can get that clear picture of that one person that you want to target, that one person you want to target ultimately represents lots of people, but that one person that you're trying to talk to, and that might be Janine, who drives a Ford Ka and shops on ASOS and works somewhere. Do you get what I'm getting at? Build this profile of this person you're trying to target.
Or business.
Or
necessarily target individuals.
There may be
individuals within the business.
Yes, yeah. Exactly, because there may be a business is almost too generic. Who in that business are you looking to target? What is their role? What do they do day to day? Where do they?
It's just as relevant, isn't it?
Yeah, where are they? Yeah. Are they active on LinkedIn? Are they on certain groups within LinkedIn? Are they on Twitter? Do they actually use Facebook in a personal capacity? And could you get to them that way? Start building a picture. So what we'll do first of all is we'll just have a kind of a brief chat on our tables about who our customers are, start getting a feel for who you're targeting, and then we'll just refine it a little bit further. Okay. Okay, so it's interesting because I think we've got such a mix in the room of people clearly targeting different audiences. I think that it is easier if you're targeting consumers because you can be really specific about who your audience is. But hopefully, at least if you are trading business to business, you can identify those types of businesses and the people that you want to do business with and the people within them that you need to target. It's at least a starting point. And you may find, and you probably may have already found as you've done business with people, that you find the best ways to interact with people and you start to identify qualities within people that make it easier to identify them, so that if you're looking at a particular buyer, you may go and speak to them and actually you can tell immediately by the language that you're using because of previous experience that they're not interested or that there's something about the way that they do business that's not going to align with what it is that you're doing. So I think there's such a wide range, it is a little bit difficult. I would be really interested to really briefly just sort of feedback on some of the discussions that were had about the types of businesses that you've got, the types of audiences that you've got between you and the... I've completely lost my train of thought there. Just kind of stopped and went completely blank.
It's on age.
Just to know who you've identified as your potential target markets, basically. Just briefly.
Well,
okay.
Start at the top.
Yeah, I mean, for me, because it's new, it's a clean sheet, really, to be honest with you. So I'm looking to find buyers at the high-end stores, and then take it from there. Because I think, which is why I've started to do why I started the business doing trade shows as opposed to going direct, because I wanted to build a profile on someone else's brand, if that makes sense. So whether it's Heels, Liberties, Harrods, etc. So it's trying to find then and then being able to being in position to be able to upscale very quickly. But at the moment I'll take any buyer that's coming by that likes my products and will pay what I need to get.
But I think it's really important to have that vision of where you want to get to.
Yeah.
And as well, I think it was something that I just said on the table over there while I was sat with them, was it does dictate the language that you choose to use and things like that, doesn't it? Because if ultimately you want to appeal to those people, well, then start talking to people with the right kind of language. If they're incredibly high end and they will normally spend a lot more money, you've got to give them the credit for that, really, in the way that you communicate with them. So it just helps inform the language that you might use and the quality of the materials that you might send them. So if you're going to send something to Harrods, it's going to have to be an awful lot better quality than if you're perhaps sending it to New Look. They're kind of completely different.
I think buyers would expect the same quality no matter where they are, to be honest with you, whether it's New Look or anybody else. I think they would expect, certainly on knitwear, they want it to be finished properly and branded properly. They might not want the bag and the ribbon and everything else to go with it.
Oh, of course.
Bells and whistles,
So
I'm more thinking about the marketing materials that you might send to them.
But interestingly, when I did the British Craft Trade Fair recently, I dropped my press packs off to the press office, and it was really, really interesting to see the different types of press packs that were there, because some people had sewn little bags with USB sticks in, some people had got whole gifts, like massive like cushions and things like that, with their press packs in between. And I thought, wow, okay, so it's a totally different kettle of fish from doing a standard trade fair to doing a creative trade fair. And having your stuff to stand out amongst all of that creativity actually is a big job. That's really difficult.
And that's where doing your research pays off, doesn't it, really, because you've got to know what you're up against in the different places that you're going to be presenting yourself.
At the same time, at the end of the show, it was very easy to determine how many press turned up, because some of those gorgeous gifts weren't taken.
Really?
So I knew there wasn't much press at the show. Because they would have gone.
They had a big snap.
Interesting. Okay. Any other feedback from this table?
Customers.
Well, as regards finding customers or getting in the head of the customers find us.
Okay.
Because there's only, I don't know whether it's not so much luck, it's just where we're at. We're in such a niche as regards competition. Okay, there's only 6 other companies if that, in the country that do exactly what we do.
Okay.
A lot of people buy things in, sell them on,
Yeah.
but actually manufacturing what we manufacture, there's not many of us. There's very few. So there's demand exceeds supply.
Okay.
And that's quite a nice place to be.
Yeah.
You know, but we still got to get to market.
Yeah.
You know, we still have the odd way to say when I'm worried, but there's no work on the machines, and that's where the marketing thing comes in. But I know pretty well the customers that I'm trying to get to.
Good.
We know who they are.
Yeah.
It's just making sure that we've got enough of them every week of the year.
Yeah.
You know, and we do tend to be reactive rather than proactive, because the orders come to us and we have to react to it rather than going out. So, oh God, we've got to go and get some orders. Bing, another email. Bing, you know, phone call goes. We need a repeat. We need this. We need that. So we're reacting rather than being proactive, and that has gone on for a long time. And I manage to sleep at night, but occasionally I think, well, one day this is going to dry up, and I've got to future-proof my orders. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm here now. But as regards identifying the actual person who's going to be purchasing what we make, I know who they are.
Good.
I know who they are. Yeah.
Fab.
Okay.
That's a very good position to be in.
It is, but it's still, you know, they can move, and things do go wrong occasionally, of course.
Do you have those customers?
But small is beautiful, I think. I think the
different
fact we're such a
countries?
small. Sorry.
Can you, if for example, schools, football club, can you expand into like exports like those?
We could.
customer in
We
Scotland,
could,
or-
we could, but we're in this weird position that we're on the cusp of actually having to grow the business. If we're going to get more customers, we're going to have to grow the business, employ more people, invest in more plant, bigger premises, etc.
Money tied in with that.
Yeah, which isn't an issue. But if I was 35 years of age, I'd be doing it. I'd be doing it tomorrow. You know, but you know, I mean, both my daughters work in the business. It's a family business, so obviously we want something for them. So I'm not going to grow it for myself, but probably grow it for them. But yeah, export is another. I mean, my partner attended a workshop on Tuesday with the UK about export.
Yeah.
And she decided that actually, well, that isn't for us. You know, it isn't for us. You know, we do export a few bits go over to Iceland. Where we've got quite a lot of, we send quite a lot of stuff to Ireland, a bit to Finland, a bit to Germany, but mostly it's UK.
Yeah.
Mostly UK. And I don't think unless we grew the business, physically grew it, we wouldn't be able to supply.
That's really cool. I'm sorry to talk from directly behind you.
No
But
problem.
we don't do export apart from to these 4 countries.
Sorry.
Exporting further is not for you.
Yeah, well put. Thank you. Yeah, we don't do export except.
Do you guys want to feed anything back?
Yeah, no. Okay.
I'm not going to force anybody to share. Okay, so you guys, do you want to feed back to the room? I think we got some quite specific sort of target markets for you guys, didn't we? Which is good.
I want to target because I feel like all fabric shops are for experienced sewers and things. So I want to concentrate on people who are interested in fashion and maybe want to take up sewing as a hobby. So I can include how-to guides, very basic things. I've also got on the website an R-scanner page. So it's a girl that works within the company. She's a pro at sewing, so they can literally go onto the website and type in any question, any silly question, or which fabric would be best for a skirt or anything like that. And she can come back and give them advice. So basically my target market is probably me. Me. People in their 20s who have an interest in fashion. I got a sewing machine for Christmas, but I don't know how to use it. I don't know don't know where to get my fabric from. When I go on fabric sites, I don't know whether £5 a yard or whatever is cheap and things like that. So I think there's a gap for that. So I want to kind of look at targeting those people. Obviously, if we attract experts as well, then that's great. But like you said, it's best to find a gap in the market.
Yeah. Which I think is what's really interesting about what you've done is you've looked at the kind of people you want to target, and then you've gone and researched what's out there already, and actually gone, well, hang on a minute, there's a big gap there that's not being catered for. Why don't we try and fill it and see how the market responds? So that's quite interesting, and that's where knowing your audience can be really useful, because you can then go and research them and research what's already out there for them. And it's not even like you just looked on sewing websites either, have you? You've looked at fashion and what fashion bloggers are blogging about, what they are and aren't, and whether they do much blogging about sewing, and there's the potential opportunity for them to get in early with people that are starting to diversify what they're talking about, before they've already got loads of suppliers, because all of the, as you said, all of the sewing bloggers have already got all the people that they work with and promote.
Bloggers, where I've had to go through pages and pages just to see if they've got that one post about a sewing machine.
Yeah.
And if they have, I know that they've got that little bit of interest, so I can contact them and say they won't already have loads of fabric companies contacting them. So, yeah.
Cool.
I'll try that.
Because mine is like evening clutch bag, so a lot of my customers are female, going to special occasions, weddings, ladies' days, parties and balls and proms. So I think my market is about between 20 to 65 is a big age group, and then that is wedding focused, so they buy multiple orders, so buy the same style. But then I also got another range which is like PU leather, so that is more trendy, more fashionable.
Oh, okay.
Maybe like for focus at 20. So I find it very difficult to talk sophisticated language for those people going to Ladies' Day, and also target the younger ones.
I think it's harder to do when you've got something central like a website, but if you're doing any other kinds of marketing, it may be that you advertise your leather bags through something like Google AdWords, and you're specifically only targeting people that are between 16 and 25 or 30, in which case you can then change the language and the imagery and this kind of style of marketing that you do to those people in that place. You've still got to make sure you've got this kind of overall brand consistency, but you can just tweak it slightly and dial it down ever so slightly, so it still feels like your brand, but you're just more likely to hit a nerve with those people. And it might just be as simple as the grabbing strapline that you use to get people. We're working with a dessert company, I think I mentioned her earlier, and she's got her trade customers and she's got her individual customers, and there's one website that looks after them all. When you land on it, you clearly know where you're going to go if you're one or the other, but the language that we use on the flyers for each of them is ever so slightly different. It all feels like the same brand, but we will use slightly different wording to grab different people. And you know, for the restaurant owners and cafes and things that she supplies to, it's about the experience that their customers get by eating her desserts. Not really, I mean, obviously they care about the price, but really what they care about is the experience that their customers are going to get when they eat her desserts in their establishment, the fact they're going to come back. For customers, for weddings, for example, she does wedding cakes as well. It's about making it easy and perfect. So there's just different languages and ways that you can keep your brand consistency, but just dial your messages in the direction of the audience that you're targeting.
It's like a combination of a boohoo.com plus a monsoon coast. In one. It's just really confusing. It could be very confusing,
Yeah, it's difficult sometimes. Do you want to give us some feedback as well?
I'm all right.
Okay, we've identified that it's a little bit more tricky when you're targeting buyers in certain businesses, and we're starting to think that your process is probably actually needs to work slightly backwards, doesn't it? And that you need to start, just like you have, you know your customers and you know the ones that work for your business. And I think that's probably a bit of a journey that you need to have before you can really start going, okay, well, I know that I can get the attention of this business because I know that this works, and you can really start making it work for you. One of the other things that we want to look at doing today is some other tools that just help you sort of refine your offering a little bit. So one of those is what's called a SWOT analysis. So it's, as you can already see, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and threats. This is great as a marketing tool. It's also great as a general business development tool as well. Often when we do these kinds of things with clients, if we're doing like a branding project or a rebranding project with them, it will often identify for them other areas that they can improve their business in, not just them related to their marketing, which is quite interesting. So there's actually we're gonna do 3 batches of SWOT analysis. Here. We're going to do 2 as a group, and I want you guys to do 1 on your own for your own business as well. So first of all, we're going to look at, I need one of those chunky pens, we're going to look at doing a SWOT analysis of the sort of things that all of your businesses have in common, because I think it'll be interesting to identify any sort of industry-wide problems or strengths or anything that fall into these areas. So for strengths, we're looking at things that make you a strong business. So you've saying about the fact that you make everything in the UK, made in Britain. whether that's something that's shared, that's a really good strength. There may be weaknesses as well. So it may be your capacity or the speed that you can react to stuff or the size of your business. There may be weaknesses, things that you could see as potentially being a problem if you were to get 100 leads in tomorrow, for example. Opportunities, that can range anything from legislation and laws that might change that you can take advantage of. Or any other opportunities, technology that's coming into play, things like that can be an advantage to your business that may happen in the near or far future. And then threats really is pretty much the opposite of that. So again, any laws or legislation that might be coming into play that's going to cause problems in your business, if maybe you're supporting or supplying to an industry that's shrinking, that could be a potential threat, all sorts of things. So first of all, what I'd quite like to do is just as a group come up with some of these things that you feel are maybe industry-wide or industry-wide for Leicestershire. Run me through some of the strengths that you guys have got.
We're all UK based in the room.
But we drilled down into that and said, because we're Leicestershire based, we've got heritage of textiles in this county or this area, we can react very quickly to demand. So, for example, there's button companies, spinners, weavers, dyers.
So because of the geography of the business,
because of
the industry,
you
we're all
can
close
drive
together.
down the road and pick up all the raw materials that you might particularly need to create a new product.
Fantastic.
I think because Leicestershire is quite central as well.
Yeah.
You've got ease of access to everywhere.
Yeah.
You've got your serve. So if your steam press breaks down, there is an engineer. He's not up in Glasgow.
Or there's a company round the corner, they'll let you borrow it to get a job
Precisely that. Precisely
Fab.
that.
Cool. Well, it sounds like you're ideally located. Okay, what else have you got there?
As strengths, being able to turn things around quickly.
Okay.
Small orders, on demand, bespoke, being able to bespoke things to customers. And also the heritage that Bernie spoke about, and flexibility.
Fab. Okay. So what strengths have you guys got then? What have we got that's similar and what have we got that's different?
We've obviously got the UK base and the reputation and experiences, what you said, the heritage.
We have a reputation of having better quality, not to say that everything that we produce is of the highest quality, but the reputation counts for a lot. So as long as we maintain that, it's a big strength.
Yeah, people expect more quality.
Exactly that.
On
the same
faster
page.
Response. Fab. Okay, cool. So many of the same. So let's run through. We'll go with you guys first on the weaknesses. What have you got on there?
Obviously, it's a high price for people like to manufacture in the UK. For
UK production, UK based, made goods. They sort of demand a premium just to the nature of the market. So the high price obviously is a weakness. That's one thing. Competitive disadvantage against factories abroad. Labour costs are cheaper abroad. So raw materials, machineries that are imported, the cost of machinery as technology increases, the price of that equipment goes up. If you're having to import it in, again, that's a disadvantage, that's a weakness.
Okay. How about you guys? Have you got anything different on there?
Similar.
Skills.
Skills shortage. You mentioned this, didn't you? Machinists.
Did we mention the strength of the pound?
Well, there are
against
skills
for
there, but the people who were skilled, as an example, machinists,
gone out the industry, haven't they?
they're now packing sandwiches.
Yeah, gone out the industry.
And
They're
they
not
don't
going back, are they?
No, they don't want to sit behind a machine for 8 hours.
Do you think that's just because they no longer want to do that job, or because the dip in the industry caused them to just sort of disappear and not come back?
Both.
If they can earn £7 an hour doing either, packing a sandwich is not exactly skilled. Whereas sewing a garment, they've got to make sure the seam allowance is there, make sure this is happening, make sure the machine's working, make sure it's threaded.
It's a much higher skill job, but there's
a higher skill factor in overlocking blouses than there is to answering a telephone in a call centre. Not that I'm demeaning people that answer, but the skill set and the availability of skilled labour, the labour pool has shrunk, and that is a big weakness, and it's also a threat because the training isn't there anymore. There's no apprenticeships. You used to have Hinckley College, you train knitters. You used to have a big company like Cora's,
Yep.
Nearly every skilled machinist in Leicestershire has either been through Cora's or one of the big Viella or whatever, and they've learned how to overlock, they've learned how to lock stitch, and then they go on to, that's all gone now because those big companies have gone.
The
factories have gone.
We've got a training school in the factory itself, and we work with the job centre, and we're trying to kind of get people who have worked in the trade, have gone out it, that need a sort of refresher course, that we can provide that, with the aim being that out of the X amount of people that come through that training school, if we get 1 or 2 more extra machinists and get them back onto our lines, it's extra productivity for us, and without having to go through the hassle of you know, trying to put them through trials, trying to do
but
that.
I think
because it is a really skilled job, isn't it?
I mean, machinists should be on minimum wage, really, when you think about it.
But that's excellent, because my next question was going to be, with all of those weaknesses that we've got in there, is there anything that you can actually do anything about or are they just are they just weaknesses that you can't touch? They just come with the territory.
Necessarily, as an individual, we can't change the fact that Hinckley College no longer offers a knitting apprenticeship. We can't, can we?
No.
However, you could do on-the-job training.
Yeah.
I mean,
which
is exactly what. So
we can convince more larger businesses to do the same thing.
But I think
there isn't actually a formal, government run.
Okay.
Like you can go you can go and learn how to design a website, but you can't go and learn how to run a knitting machine.
Yeah, but the government gave up on it years ago.
Exactly.
That's so you've got
to do it.
That's why people can just bring things without anything like that. So
Yeah.
the only way you're going to come across
is the desire there.
Do we need to go luxury?
Is it an attractive
skill? Not justify. If we were paid, let's say, £50 to make this job, then I'll happy pay the machine £12.50.
Yeah.
But
It would be
unfortunately,
attracted to it,
H&M Primark, that end of the market, has completely taken the value out of the craftsmanship.
Correct.
That goes into the clothing that we're making.
Correct.
Well, and that's fine if you're getting the volume, happy days, but if you're not, then there has to be some kind of reward for the time and the skill and the creativity.
Going into textiles isn't an attractive thing to young people, I don't think, generally.
Yeah, but it will be.
We're not on the shop floor. It's
paid.
difficult, but even fact, I mean, I've only just qualified as a textile designer, and we learn how to use knitting machines and all that kind of stuff, and the sewing machines, what have you. But it was all about the design element, and it wasn't at the other end. You know what I mean? Because
but you need to understand the production process in order
you
to.
do.
Will
To
you?
be able
Can
to
your
go to
designs be
machinists and
produced?
say, here we go.
That's what,
This is,
Well,
can you do this
yeah.
way or what have you? But even the universities are so far detached from industry.
That's exactly.
They haven't a clue.
Look, your business takes off. You need a room full of machines. Who's going to make them up?
Yeah.
You know what I mean. You're going to have to go to CMT. You're going to have to go to. It's really hard to find this stuff.
This guy here will.
Yeah.
There's a new brand. There's a new brand that got into Mr. Porter, Emma Willis shirts, and there's a small shirt manufacturer in Gloucestershire, and they're selling like cashmere shirts for like £300, but that's the model that many can compete on.
Yes.
You don't need high volume.
No.
No, not at all. I so agree with you.
And a good retailer like Mr. Porter to support your brand, and then the branding just works because they go onto Mr. Porter, they Google Emma Willis. Beautiful website and a nice little like Georgian building where they're making shirts inside, and the staff are young and the staff are getting paid well. And it's cool. It's nice. So that's what the UK is about being creative and cool and serving that customer who works in an investment bank and won't even bat an eyelid at £300 shirt.
So really it's that maybe there's weaknesses there that you can't do anything about, but you can do something about the strengths. And it's about making sure that you have healthy profit margins on what you're doing, and not demanding not demanding £300 for a shirt perhaps, but demanding a slightly higher premium because of the brand Britain that you've got behind you, and the quick turnaround and all of the advantages. So that's where this sort of starts to help inform your marketing, because then actually maybe it's that you're pitching a slightly more premium product. So you're not interested in the £3 pumps you can get from Primark. You're interested in the people that actually see value in buying something that's going to last. I see the difference between spending money on good jeans that will last me a year or 2 years over jeans that are £10 out of Primark, that are going to fade after one wash and are probably going to fall apart after having worn them for 2 weeks. In reality, because that's what £3 pumps are from Primark, aren't they? You wear them and I've got a pair in my bag. I'm not expecting them to last long, but it cost me £3. And you've got to pitch those people that see the value in those items of clothing and making sure that they last them a long time. And so you've got to pump those messages home to people.
I know one company called the Inish Man Knitting Company, I don't know if you've heard of them or not, they're on this tiny island on the west coast of Ireland, right? And when I say tiny, you can walk it in an hour, right? The whole island. But this is where Aaron Knitting came from, this particular island. But he's got Shima knitting machines in his little tiny island. I don't know how he got them over there, anyway. He's got them there. He doesn't sell jumpers in Ireland.
No.
Right? He sells them in Japan. He sells them in New York. He sells them in London. He sells them in Paris. And they're made from cashmere. And they're all based on traditional Irish Aran jumpers, etc., except they're made out of cashmere or what have you. And they retail at $500 a jumper. But the women knitting on the island, most of them are Polish, right? So they've never heard of Aran Islands. But all his marketing, everything, is all about traditional Irish knitting.
Yeah.
Everything, right?
Got it. Yeah.
It got to a state. I mean, I went to visit him, and he was really funny about talking to me because I was doing some research about Aran jumpers and the origins and stuff. And he was really funny about telling me. I was like, "Look, you're obviously not hand knitting these. You know, it's not a problem. You know, I understand you probably got Shimas and da da da." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I am. Yeah. But I don't want anyone to know because all of our marketing is all
based on
about
that
being
story.
knitted on that island
What we're talking
For
about.
for
Selling
hundreds of
story,
years,
Yeah.
which is total myth.
Yeah.
Total myth. You know, but it sells.
He's built a
jumpers.
brand on it, yeah.
Oh my, and it's a lovely brand, you
Yeah.
know. It's.
But are we going to become an industry of need? Is the day? I think we've all got to accept maybe the day of the big factory. You know, has gone, hasn't it? In this country.
Oh, yeah,
It's gone. It's gone. It's not going to come back, is
We
it?
can't keep up with demand anyway. We could never service the UK's clothing requirement anyway.
No.
Full stop.
No.
No. But
So-
yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
But, I'm just thinking that the
Even if you
profile
work
of the
flat
industry
out,
has
you may
changed.
not
Whether
be
you're
able to
making
do that.
blouses, jumpers, scarves, hats, handbags, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we're all looking at
Yeah.
smaller product,
Yeah.
better quality,
Yeah.
whatever you're making.
And exporting it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you've built a strong British brand,
Yeah.
there will be
Or even if you
there'll
don't
be
have a brand,
certain
just the
areas
fact
abroad that
you
will.
do make in the UK. Now you
Yeah.
could develop that brand, but as soon as you say that, people, you know, there's been a sea change. As we were saying at lunch, you know, there is. Oh, really? Everything's made. You
And
can
people
get it
love
different.
the UK.
Yeah, but, you know, when I get people ring me up and they say, "Oh well, you know, blah blah blah." I say, "Yeah, and everything we sell you is made here." They go, "Oh really?" It's a surprise. It's a pleasant surprise for people. So that's the way the industry is going.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You know, the days of Cora's. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, it's a shame.
Okay,
Anyway.
so opportunities. What opportunities have you highlighted
Well,
there?
that's exactly what we
Go on.
talked
Exporting,
about.
yeah.
Export higher quality. And there's an opportunity with, you guys were talking about rising
It's
Okay.
costing more
Nation,
for
but
our,
they're catching up in
Yeah,
terms of
very
wages
much so.
and all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
eventually,
Talking
at
about
some
that
point,
lunch
it's going to even out anyway. But
Yeah.
right now, with actually, higher quality products is an opportunity for us.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
what
much so.
happened? I
Yeah.
think what happened to our industry 10 years ago is what's happening to the Asian
Yes.
market.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
To
know,
a certain
the,
extent.
the staff are getting more and more aware
Yeah.
of their rights and
yeah,
what
they're
they
aspirational,
want.
aren't they? Instead of
Everybody
just
wants an
wage
iPad.
slaves.
Everybody wants the latest,
Did
4K
Most
TV. and
Yeah.
likely, what they want is a living wage.
Yeah.
That's
It's
what
not,
it's, yeah.
you
It's
know,
not so much. They aspire to getting paid
And
a
they want
fair
to have,
wage.
they want
yeah.
to know to go to that they can go to work. The building isn't going to
Collapse on them. Exactly that. Health and safety and
It's-
etc. Doesn't
But
exist
it's like
in
what
the
it was
business.
like in 19th century America during the textile mills and all the problems that were happening there. That's all happening now over there. And
See,
it's-
because of the global village, China, they can't get away with it so much now.
absolutely, yeah.
So
So I think something we've all got to remember there is that you need to be ready for when that happens.
Yeah.
And ready to take advantage of it, because if you can already see that it's starting to turn, there will be a point where it actually starts to have a significant impact on the industry in other countries. And
So
yeah,
when
you need to
started,
make sure you're
even in
prepared for that.
China,
Yeah.
because I'm from Hong Kong originally, I remember when I was young, it's like lots of trading companies factory in Hong Kong, and then they take advantage of China, so they move all the factories from Hong Kong to China. People from the village all move to the city to work in as machinists. They get paid really little,
Yeah.
but now these people 20 years later,
don't wanna
they've
do
got
it anymore.
iPad, their children doesn't
Yeah.
want to follow the same footstep. China realize that they can't just copy foreign brand anymore.
Yeah.
They have to have something. So they all send these children to university abroad in Leicester, Loughborough, everywhere. Chinese overseas students want to learn something, want to go back and make something original. So even China have noticed it can't just follow the trend and lead anymore. And then, like you said,
But this is what
the
India
cost is increasing.
This is what
The
India
cost
So it's going next to Vietnam now. I don't know what is the next.
Yeah, there will be another country.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Shoes
there
go
when
to
it
Vietnam.
happens.
They're going to
Okay.
run out of
Bangladesh.
editors, though, aren't we? I mean, how, you know, it's going to happen, isn't it?
The
I
what,
mean,
sorry?
well, I'm saying that made in China now isn't necessarily a mark of cheap.
Oh no,
You
not
know,
at all. I'd
that
say
has
it's
now,
quite the
as you say, it's gone
opposite.
to Vietnam.
It's quite the
and-
opposite.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
So I think
But
what we've done
we're gonna
there
run
as
out of
well
countries that can do the cheap.
is that
Hopefully.
we've actually
Not in my lifetime,
we've
it's gonna
actually
happen, isn't it?
recognised, I think, another potential threat there, which we'll move on to in a moment. We'll just look at the opportunities you guys came up with as well, because whilst that may be an opportunity now, there may be a gap where we can take advantage of the fact that the costs are rising and that more people want to buy from the UK. But if then 6 months or 2 years down the line, all those people manage to move their operations into another country where it's cheaper again, that could potentially have a really negative impact.
So it's a cycle that's been going on
Yeah.
for years.
So I think what businesses have got to be smart about is not letting that dip get the better of them, and then the same dip that we had here in the Leicestershire Textiles industry, not letting it happen again, and being smarter about the relationships that you build, and not letting somebody then whip them out from underneath you if another country pops up making stuff for
In a
nothing.
recession, the well-run companies survive. It gets it's an awful thing to say because I don't like to see people losing their livelihoods, but it gets rid of the crap. It clears
Yeah,
the crap
that's
out.
true.
When it's easy, and everybody's like in the
Yeah.
70s,
Yeah.
everybody was making skinny rib polo jumpers.
Yeah.
Anybody could do it.
Yeah.
Right? It was easy.
Yeah.
Money was being made hand over fist. Now nobody does that because there's no market there. It's hard. But there are still people in textiles now. The people who are in textiles now have got to be good at what they do.
Oh, of course,
otherwise they'll be gone.
Yeah, most
They're gone 'cause
definitely.
there's
Yeah.
so many gone.
Yeah.
So recession is a bad thing in some ways, but it's also good because it's like regrowth. It's like when you have a bushfire, gets rid of all the rubbish and then the new shoots grow. Hopefully.
Yeah.
No.
The last
not to
thing
be
you want to
feared
happen is, like we were talking about earlier, then a £400,000 contract being whipped out from underneath you, and despite the fact that you've built a brilliant brand and a strong business, relying on that one,
this is a
that
lesson
one
from the
good
past.
contract.
You can't do
Of
that.
course,
You can't
exactly,
do that.
exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Marks and
Yeah.
Spencer's.
So I just
destroying our
thought it was
industry.
interesting. There's a potential threat there
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
could
there is.
come back and bite
But
you.
I think
Don't let it.
I think anybody who's either startup now or been experienced in doing
Yeah.
it has learned that lesson.
Yeah.
I hope, because otherwise
Me too.
people won't be going into it. People aren't going. The people in the textile industry that have either survived or started, they're not blind.
Yeah.
It's happened. You've experienced it personally. We've all heard the stories, all of us. So I think it's almost organic that you will ring fence against that. You'll
Defend yourselves against it. Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So what did you guys come up with in terms of opportunities?
Clearer.
We spent a lot of time over that.
So you've got export opportunities as well.
We just got the same.
You're the same. Well, you've got government funding on there as well, which I think.
What we were thinking, I mean, this is obviously, if government wanted to obviously increase UK production, they actually thought that was something that was worthwhile investing in. It's something like,
for sure.
because obviously you're all aware of the problems that Leicestershire has specifically when it comes to manufacturing and unethical trading and all the rest of it. And having if you can grow your factory to produce this a quantity of garments per month, per year, whatever, then they give you funding towards those types of factories that can do that, and only the factories that trade ethically then can achieve that help. And that is again a way of clearing out the riff-raff, clearing out the people that you don't want in the industry, which will again make your margins, whoever's doing it the right way, better.
Yep.
And strengthen your
exactly.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think also at this particular moment in time, because there's this big emphasis on reshoring textiles back to the UK, we're in a really good position because of funding it's been identified as an area there where actually we're not doing enough for the textiles companies and we've ignored them for 20 years. Let's put some money into textiles. It's like, oh my God, that's amazing. So we're all in a position now where we can apply for funding, and as long as we match it, we're
That's
likely to get it.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, we
it's-
do. I can speak personally.
Yeah,
We've just
well, I
bought-
have as well.
We bought a £22,000 embroidery machine,
Yeah,
half of which we paid for.
there
Yeah.
you go.
But we created a job.
Absolutely, and
And
that's the
only
main
right.
thing.
You don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
something. There's no such thing as something for nothing.
No.
You've got to
No.
have something.
Totally agree.
But if you're thinking about
Very well.
making an investment, every time we've made investments, we've gone and looked to see if there's funding there.
Yeah.
And on 2 occasions, we've got match funding for
Yeah.
stuff, and it
Yeah.
saved us thousands of pounds.
Yeah.
And I think that, and look, I mean, yeah, look for the textiles specific funding, but especially with things like marketing, look for marketing based funding as well, because we've done schemes before where we can get match funding for marketing activities. So that might be the build of a new website.
Exactly, yeah.
Mass sometimes do some funding as well. I don't know if they're still doing it, but they used to have, I think it was a match funded product for manufacturing businesses for marketing activities. So I know we built a kind of not really a marketing activity, but we built a traceability system for a client so that they could trace the production of their food goods. And they got that match funded. So it can help with business systems and marketing. So you might need an e-commerce website. It's going to cost you thousands of pounds. What if you can get a match funded? That's going to save you thousands of pounds. So always, if you think about making any investment, always go and have a dig. You might not find anything,
No, it's
but it astounds me.
It wasn't 5 years
No,
ago.
not at all.
No,
Not
of
at
course,
all.
no.
It
What's
wasn't
triggered that?
even 10
What's
years
triggered
ago.
that?
No idea.
An election?
No idea. I think that there's more backing for small businesses these days.
Generally, across the
Yeah,
Why is
and
that given it?
What is the
to push
criteria? Can
something
anybody
when
tell me
everything
what is the
crashed.
criterion for the SME that governments talk about? But they're talking about 250 employees. A small business is 50 employees.
Yeah.
I employ 5 people.
Yeah.
exactly.
we're micro SMEs, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The funding, but it is harder then when you're in that real niche, that small number of people.
But it does
to find-
come
but
up.
It does exist.
And I think that
but you
it-
have to do
Yes,
it.
you do.
have to do
And
it.
I think
Yeah.
that's what makes it so appealing, though, because actually it is there, and you might have to go away and get 3 quotes for everything you want to buy,
Yeah.
but it can save you thousands of
Took about
pounds, and
a
so
week.
many other people
It
don't
took about a
think
week
of
to
doing
get it all
it.
together and get it approved. But it was time well spent. But it
Yeah.
was time well spent. It
But
really
if you're
was.
going to save £10,000, you could pay someone else to do it.
We all got a can't be bagged with that. I'd rather pay for it myself.
Yeah, for 250 employees, you can probably afford to say, right, you sit down for 3 days
Yeah.
and sort it out.
Yeah.
Right,
I know you've got to do it
troubleshoot
yourself.
with me along the way.
When you're 6
But when it's like us
doing it yourself.
and then other inquiries come in, and then before you know, the deadline's gone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's happened to me so many times.
Absolutely.
I've
We
put
have
But
this-
if you're making a
I have that
significant enough
experience, exactly. You're so right.
investment, so in your case, where it was going to save you £10,000-11,000, if you were confident you fell, if you know you fall exactly into that category, but
Yeah.
you've just got
It's
to go
worth
through the
spending.
motions, or paying somebody else to do it for you, because it might cost you 500 quid or £1,000 to get
But
somebody
you'll
else
get
to
it,
spend
yeah,
a couple of
of
weeks
course.
doing
But it's
it.
identifying.
But you're going to save
Just identifying.
£10,000 for spending one.
It's identifying that. But it is,
Yeah.
I mean, I can only speak from our own experience. It was pretty idiot-proof. We were going to get that. All we had to do was hit the deadline.
Yeah.
Okay? And it was not that harder. On looking back now,
Yeah.
with the gift of hindsight.
It feels hard at the time, though,
At the
doesn't
time,
it?
I was like, how the hell am I going to get these figures done when I've
Yeah.
got to get this order out? But
Yeah.
it was worth it and it was doable. You just have to apply yourself.
Exactly.
You have to prioritise.
Yeah.
And I think we all suffer from that running small businesses.
Yeah.
You know, where's my time best spent?
Yes.
It really is
Yeah.
a tough judgment call, isn't it?
I said for night, get it done.
Yeah. Fab. Okay. So you've also got air travel prices on there as well. So is that in terms of importing stuff?
What's
Yeah,
that?
you get some embroidery. Yeah.
Air travel. I can't speak. Air travel prices increasing.
Yeah, it's just
Right.
in terms of products coming from offshore.
Uh-huh.
They are,
Costing them more to ship.
yeah,
Yeah.
the cost of actually bringing it over, that is steadily increasing, and it's increasing as, fuels run out and all the rest of it.
Correct.
And the oil price generally does tend to increase or fluctuate.
Yeah, we've had a bit of a
Yeah.
result.
So
at the
is there
moment, to be
anything
honest.
that ultimately
You're
you
right.
can do about that then? So are these products that you could potentially source from closer to home? So that you're not.
What I meant was in terms of offshore production.
Yeah, and
Then
Okay.
bringing that in.
Shipping it
The
over,
cost,
Yeah.
container
purely
shipping.
the cost.
Of course, sorry,
shipping.
yeah, we're looking at
Yeah.
opportunities still,
Allied
aren't we?
with
I'd gone,
the cost
my head
of-
had gone into threat mode already.
Allied to the cost of increased wages abroad
Yeah,
yeah.
is making us more costly. It's
Okay.
beginning to balance a bit.
So it's
Yeah.
pinching those businesses that are selling stuff for
Yeah.
next to
And
nothing.
that, is,
that little
that
bit
ain't
more.
going to change, as you rightly say, because it is a finite resource, oil, even though there's been a blip in,
Yeah.
that process.
Yeah.
It's gone down, which is good in some respects. But, that it will always continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So indigenous industries will benefit from that
Mhm.
indirectly over time, won't they? That's what you're saying.
And local curry is very cheap.
Yeah.
Like courier, what's that? Parcel Pete I use. Parcel Pete.
Parcel
It's really cheap
Pete.
to
I know
have
him. He's a nice lad.
Yeah, it's very cheap
No,
to
it's
send
true. I
locally.
use Parcel Monkey and it is really
Parcel
really
Monkey,
cheap. Yeah, it's
I
the
post
same
parcel,
thing.
yeah, they're very cheap.
Is that for
People
sending
courier.
individual items?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
like
right.
a big one box or two to Amazon Fulfillment Centre, things like that.
Okay. So what does it cost you to send a bag?
To send a bag?
You know, if you've got one of your customers, you've got a handbag, you send it to them, you use Parcel Pete.
Oh, no, I don't. I use Amazon Fulfillment.
Oh, Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, how does that work?
£2.50.
Brilliant.
Ship, pack, post, everything
Okay,
for
cool.
me, so I don't have to touch
And you
anything.
charge the customer a fiver, I take it, for that.
Yeah, free.
Oh.
Because
Yeah,
Amazon
that's
do
the way,
free
yeah.
delivery.
Loss
Yeah,
leader,
So
yeah.
free prime delivery.
Yeah.
So we
Just
don't
build
charge
that into
customer.
your selling cost.
Yeah, part of it as well.
Okay.
But when we, because we sell on Amazon website and we also sell online, so to match the same, even on our website, it's free.
I mean, the
People
cost,
used to
cost
that
of
now.
inland couriers
Yeah,
is it amazes me how cheap. We use DPD, and we'll send a box that weighs 17 kilos, and it costs me a fiver.
Can I ask a question?
You know.
Does Amazon work?
Does Amazon work?
Does it work for you?
It works for me, but it doesn't work for if you want to have a brand, because people normally put lots of feedback. Oh, lovely bag, thank you, Amazon. I thought, it's me and Tommy's bag.
yeah,
So
yeah,
they
yeah.
thought they just like thought there's no loyalty or retention on that either.
Yeah.
Until my next order, when I send the bag, I put like care card, I put like a thank you card,
Yeah.
or like next order.
Yeah.
Order direct,
Yeah.
you get 15%. That's how you divert customer
Right.
from Amazon. Otherwise, people just go, yeah, Amazon silver clutch bag, oh cheap,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna order that one.
Yeah, yeah.
And the next one they go
Okay.
eBay. So
And then
they
does
don't
Amazon send
keep
it
that.
out for you then?
Yeah, they do.
So they hold stock of
Yeah,
your
they hold
product?
stock,
Right,
yeah.
okay,
Mm.
yeah.
Drop ship, I think.
Dropship,
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Fab. Okay, now we'll move on to threats.
Sorry.
Okay, so what have we got on here? Okay, so Far East competition. So is that in terms of the low cost that they can do stuff currently? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, a repeat of what happened to UK production some 10, 15 years ago, where those avenues to get stuff made abroad widened and retailers took advantage of it. So UK production crashed almost overnight and everything went away. So for something similar to happen again, or some other avenue brings its head around, and all of a sudden, UK production's out of fashion, it's gone, it's lost again. And what we were talking about earlier was the price drop trend that we kind of related it to supermarkets and how they say, right, okay, we're selling this for £3. Tesco come along and say, we'll sell it for £2.75. Then the next person comes along, Aldi, and they say, right, we'll do it for £1.89.
7p loaf of bread. I mean, it got ridiculous.
So, and then that's also a threat where retailers, high street retailers, then come in and say, right, okay, come to us because we can do it cheaper, because there's an online trend of who can do it cheapest.
This is true, but I do feel that just selling on price is not a strategy that always lasts.
No, of course
don't
not.
do that. I've tried it
Yeah,
because
you
on
know,
Amazon,
It's a threat,
Yeah.
but
Don't do
it's
that.
only temporary.
Yeah.
Because people sometimes do get fed up of getting crap.
Yeah.
So you pay peanuts.
Yeah.
Get that, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so that is a threat, but it's one that'll come and go. You know, it's not a consistent threat. I mean, I don't think so anyway. I don't think that. But, you know,
That's why I tried that.
But you
with
are
the
up against
price
it.
on
Yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah.
When
It's
I
a hard
sell
one
the
to
bag,
call.
Got to sell service.
you get like really cheap bag, £7,
Yeah.
brand new bag. Okay, if you can wait three weeks shipping from China.
Yeah.
But on Amazon, because you don't know, people don't always check. Oh, where is it shipping from?
Yeah.
They just order. Oh, it's
I made
shipping,
that
I
mistake
can
before.
yeah.
Ordering
But don't
jewellery
get
items
into
on
that
eBay,
issue.
and I've
Yeah.
not realised where it's
Nothing
coming
out of
from.
it. So I put the price up. I'm very surprised the sale go up because it's a value perception,
Yes.
like you
Yeah.
said.
Yes,
So
yes,
don't
exactly
go
that,
into
value
that
perception.
price war with.
Don't
other
entertain
people.
it, yeah.
But other
Yeah,
people will
maintain
do
your
it, but
brand.
the
Keep the
customers will
brand,
come
it's
back.
high price,
Yeah,
it's
So
high
exactly.
what,
price.
just, if you don't mind me asking you, what does your bags retail at then?
From 15 to 35.
15 to, and what's your biggest seller? Is it the higher end or the lower end?
Medium, I would say 24.95.
So in the middle,
Yeah,
right,
Yeah,
so
bang in the middle.
Sub 30 quid. No, it's
Yeah.
really interesting, you know, because it's what people will pay.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, knowing what people will pay.
It depends
online.
what kind of target market. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
go with Primark £6 a bag and use
Yeah.
it once you don't use it again.
Well, you see, with
But-
mine-
You're
Well,
not
I
in
also
that
got-
market, are
No.
you?
Yeah, I'm not
Have
in
a
that
cheap
market,
bag. Have a
exactly.
cheap
With mine,
bag.
And then
handmade
because I don't
scarves.
have a shop, so I can't
Yeah.
really charge like premium, like £50.
Yeah.
You can't justify that because I'm a home business. It's online.
Yeah.
There is no
Yeah,
rate
yeah.
to pay
Yeah.
business or rent, so you can't like charge extortion
Heavily.
£150 for a bag. You
Business
can't. You have
Yeah.
to be fair. So you take some, you lose some. So yeah, that's how we go on. It's the most popular, easy, accessible. 20s, they got a good income, they can pay for £20 bag.
Yes, of course, yeah,
Yeah.
easily, yeah.
So
That
that's
matches
the
their outfit
price
as
range.
usual.
We've tried that, but when I drop the price, you can do like promotion 10%, 20% occasionally, like seasonal, but don't stay on low because then people actually, oh yeah, that must be cheap bag, not worth it.
So,
don't want to order. And it's a special occasion thing, so people are happy to pay more for something to go with the wedding. It's a special, it's an experience thing. Ladies' Day, they got nice facilators, £70, £80. They don't want a £10 bag, really.
Of course they don't. No, absolutely.
That's, you've obviously identified, you were talking earlier about identifying your market and your customer, you've done that.
Oh, yeah, but also got like the 20-year-old who, I don't know, so it's really hard. Like, I don't know how to tackle two different lots of customers together.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah,
I
because
just
you don't
have
want
a
to devalue your other
No, you don't
product.
want to dilute your brand, do you? You don't want to dilute it too much.
Yeah, because
Just
it's
call
like
it
setting
something
value.
else.
Okay.
Call your
So brand it maybe.
you know, it can be a
Do a
mini
white
range.
label and a black label.
Yeah,
There
that's
you
a
go.
good idea.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or a mini range.
Guys don't need me.
You know, mini, you know, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's for teenagers
Yeah,
and
that's a
young
good
girls.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then that kind of warrants
Be
the low
careful,
price
she'll be
point in
sending you an
itself
invoice.
because
Yeah.
you're targeting at people that don't have a big income.
But I find it really
Good
interesting.
idea.
It's all good, isn't it?
Okay, so what have you guys got in terms of threats?
I think we've got pretty much similar. But then
Yeah.
We've got currencies, EU membership. If we
political
come out of
uncertainty,
the EU, that's potentially a loss of customer for a lot of us.
Yeah.
And security as well. And then we've got increase in minimum wage. If
Yes, and this whole
if this
living wage,
does
yeah.
come in,
Yeah.
I think a lot of good manufacturers will go out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
Certainly
think
hurts a lot.
Because
I
if
think
we-
it'll hurt a lot
if
of
we-
small
if we
businesses.
This
increase our
political
prices-
uncertainty is,
Yeah.
is a, you know.
No, stores
but
won't pay.
that's seasonal, isn't it?
Okay, right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you all a few minutes. There's a SWOT analysis chart in your books. While it's all fresh in your heads and we've been talking about it and coming up with different ideas, I'd like you to go and scribble down any of those that are applicable to you and any others that you feel may be a specific threat to your particular business. So we'll do that for a few minutes and then we'll possibly look at some competition stuff, but I feel we may have covered most of it in that chat. So one of the other things that's really useful to do with a SWOT analysis, which I don't think I'm going to bother doing at this stage, but you have got another SWOT analysis sheet in your workbook if you want to do it at some point, is actually doing one for a competitor. So that might be a business that's really similar to you, a business that's just newly appeared and maybe a threat to your business in the future, or it could be a business that you aspire to be like. So somebody in your industry that's already doing what you want to do and you want to get there, you want to get to that point they're at. And it's great to do it for your competitors as well because you can then see the differences and it helps maybe see those weaknesses and threats that you maybe need to do something about because there may be weaknesses and threats for you that aren't a case for them. Why aren't they a case for them? What have they done to make that not a weakness or a threat? And then it can help inform some of the choices you make. You might go, well, actually, that's a threat to them, but that's a weakness for them, but this is a strength for me, and I feel that's more important. And it just helps you sort of realise where you're positioned in the market. And you can do things like that for lots of competitors. So you could do a SWOT analysis for like 3, and maybe one that you perceive to be not as good as you, one that you perceive to be at a similar level to you, and one that you perceive to be the better than you, and look at the differences and where you're positioned in the market. Will does have some other useful tools for doing things like that as well, but I don't think we're going to get time to share them with you today. So if you're after it, maybe go and corner him afterwards and see if he can share it with you by email. Sorry, Will. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk to you about is where are your customers? So we've already talked about who your customers are and what age they are and where they shop or who they might be within a business. But there's another way to look at it, which I think somebody did touch on earlier, and that's who else has your customers. So you've got your direct customers and you've got the people you do business with and you've got your potential audience that you want to market to. Who else already has those people? So for us, there's other marketing agencies. We work with other graphic designers that outsource their web development to us. We've got people like copywriters. They work with a lot of businesses that are just starting to look at revamping their marketing or doing something new. And we often share a lot of the same customers. So there may be, frowning at me, there may be other businesses, in completely different industries potentially that have very similar customers to you or customers with the same goals and aims in mind. So if you can identify any of those, what's really useful there is you can then build alliances with those people. So we have heaps of contacts, and yes, they wholly are all sort of marketing type industries, but we have a lot that deal with very similar customers to us, and we work together to give those customers the best value that we can. It might not be that simple. It might just be that they have the same customers as you. I mean, it was you that said earlier, wasn't it, Bernie, about like sharing exhibition space and things like that with people that market to the same people. Yeah. So we brilliant. And so
we're both doing different things.
For the same market.
Same market, so it doesn't hurt, to help each other out.
Exactly.
Spread the cost.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you save the customer time. It's nice for them to come and hit 2-3 products.
Yeah.
Or collections.
So they've got a one-stop shop instead of
And that referral is worth so much more than I think if they came to you empty as well, came to you just because they'd found you on the internet. Yeah. Having somebody say, well, actually, I've worked with them before. It's a great way to do business with people and to get new customers. So it's worth. I don't know if there's an area for it in your workbook. I can't remember. But it's worth just having a think about that. Maybe just jotting a note down to have a think at some point about who else has similar customers to you and who can you build strategic alliances with. So for yourself, it might be the jewellery companies. If you go into a wedding, you're going to buy a new dress, a new pair of shoes, so people that sell shoes, there's another one, people that sell dresses, though they're likely to sell bags as well, I guess that's the downside, and people that make their own and sell their own jewellery, because your chances are you're going to buy all those things. If you're going to an event and you want something new, you're going to want the whole outfit. So they may be people that you can cross-promote with. You can give them, 2 items from your range for them to put on their website to sell, and you can do the same for them. There's loads of different ways you can build alliances with them, but it's always worth thinking who else has your customers. Okay. Some of these slides are a bit irrelevant now because we're going to mix it up a little bit based on some of the stuff that we've done. So I'm working off the fly a little bit now.
Well, one of the things that's happened today, I should probably explain how that's occurring. One of the things that's happened today is we were aiming for an audience who are a lot less sophisticated than you guys are. So the next section was really basic stuff around why you should have an online presence at all. You guys have proved you actually...
You already know that.
So we're going to hop over it, which is why Zoe's going, that's not what I was going to say. The other thing that's occurring is you're a much smaller group than we thought we had, and so things are happening faster. Mm-hmm. We're sort of treading a line between bringing in more content, because we want to give you the most value we possibly can, and finishing early. I'm not sure what I was wanting to check whether you've got any deadlines or times that you'd like to be away for. We're not going to run later than 4. But if there was like a train that someone was getting just before that, we could deliberately finish in time, or something else, picking up children, or no? Okay.
We don't have trains in Leicester.
Right, marvellous. I'm sorry to butt in.
No, that's fine. Puts in context, so that's fine. Okay, so, and in fact, I don't even know if any of my slides anymore are very relevant. Okay, so. It doesn't matter what you're doing online, it doesn't matter what kind of marketing you're doing, you need to know your own business. And I know many of you do, but there's a few things that are within this that I think will be valuable. So I think you all know what you do. One of the things I think is really important to clarify is what makes you unique. I think a lot of people think that they have unique selling points, and actually they're not that unique at all. So what really makes you different to everybody else? if you can say, oh, I do this, and somebody else, you know, you can pick 3 of your competitors and they can say the same thing, then it's not really a unique selling point because it's not unique. And this leads on to another workshopy thing that we're going to do in a minute. So I'm just going to talk for a minute. So it's really important to refine what is going to grab people about your business. What can you tell them that makes them go, oh, okay, nobody else can do that. Also, there's quite a big difference between features and benefits. A lot of people, and you'll probably all now spot this as you browse the web, and it will annoy the hell out of you, but a lot of people, if you go onto their website and you read their content, it's we do this, we do that, we. What it should be is you. So it's not about what you do and how great you are. People don't care how great you are, they care about what's in it for them. So you need to turn all that language straight around and talk about the customer. And that's where talking about the benefits comes in. So it's great saying this is a zip, it zips up and it zips down, but what's the benefit of that zip? Well, it zips you up and keeps you warmer than any other coat you can buy. I don't know. There is another example in the workbook. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head now.
Reflective strips on a running jacket.
Yeah. So this jacket has reflective strips. This jacket makes sure people can see you in the dark so you don't get hit by a car. There's a difference between the features of it and what it is. Versus the benefit. What's the benefit? Why buy the jacket that you can sell over the jacket somebody else can sell? What's in it for them? What's the reason for them buying that jacket, that bag, that fabric? What's better about your fabric? What are the features of that fabric? And I guess for a product like that, it may change depending on the use of the fabric as well, I suppose, doesn't it? So but when you're writing anything about your company or product or service descriptions, you've got to talk about the benefits. The features are important. People do want to know the features, but they more importantly want to know what's in it for them. So what we're going to do next is there should be a sheet in your workbook that's just a company description, and you can skip the what you do bit if you want, but I think what would really be really good if just on our tables we can have a talk about what makes you unique as a business, what you feel your unique selling points are, and then also if there are any, whether you want to just pick a product maybe that you offer, or whether you just want to do it as your whether you just want to do it from your business as a whole. It's entirely up to you. But if you can pick out some of those benefits of what you offer, rather than just the features of it. Right, what I'd like to really quickly do is just get some feedback on what people found as their own sort of unique selling points, any benefits that you feel you've got. I know it was difficult, but hopefully it's at least got you thinking about the language that you should be using and things that you can use to attract people to your brand and to the products that you have to offer. So would anybody like to start?
Go on, Pav.
Sorry. Mummy is school.
Oh, great. Except I'm not going to confiscate it.
I was on the phone and he singled me out and I was like,
It's time now.
I know.
I
think you should just confiscate it.
Just want the room to feed back on how they found figuring out unique selling points and benefits for your own business.
So he was saying it was him. He was the unique thing.
That's what we were saying, but you are.
It's the people that make the organisation.
Exactly.
Organisation. So
Well, that's not a million miles away from what you said.
Nope. Yep. We're exactly the same.
Aren't we? There's no two
And
people
so,
the
so
same.
we were talking about the content of this workshop, and Zoe said, "Thing is, I find this one just as difficult as everyone else does, because what's different, what's unique about our business?" But the answer's really very obvious when you run the sort of business that Zoe and Will run. It really is about how they interact with people. And but it's not. So then how do I leverage that? How do I use that for actual marketing? You should deal with me because I'm brilliant.
Yeah.
I could write that.
See, it works. It works when you're talking about word of mouth and referrals. It works really well because people like us, so they recommend us, and we do a good job, and our output is really high quality, so they recommend us, and we're good value.
That
But
isn't unique because
No.
that hopefully happens to
exactly,
other
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, but that's why people recommend us, because they get to know us, and they like us as business owners, and they like the business that we're running. But it doesn't translate to getting cold leads or sort
Not
of
at all.
what I refer to as cold marketing. You're just sending stuff out to people that have absolutely no idea who you are. And it's actually one of our biggest next challenges is growing our marketing beyond the networks that we've built and the referrals and word of mouth marketing that we get, and reaching people that have absolutely no preconception of us whatsoever, because that's where we have to know what our unique selling points are and our benefits are. So I do appreciate how difficult it is. It's so much easier said than done, but if you can't find some kind of a way to translate that into wording and messages and imagery that's going to talk to your customers and relate to them, then it's just going to be even harder. So if you can get that, it's so important to do the marketing thinking before you do any marketing doing. And if you can get all of that thinking and strategic stuff behind you, so you've got a great foundation to build all of your marketing upon, you'll thank yourself for it later, because there is some trial and error involved in marketing, but it will be less so if you know that your messages are right for the audience you're targeting them to, and that you're using the right language to communicate with them.
Sometimes it's nice to have an outsider's sort of opinion.
Mhm.
I mean, my example is, coming out of a family business where we were doing one thing, and now I've sort of merged my new business with somebody else's existing business. You know, and it's like, well, they bring in benefit somewhere, and I bring in benefit somewhere. For example, we've known each other for like 2 months, and we've sort of turned both businesses around, but we still wouldn't know how to sort of market that.
Or how to define it.
Yeah.
Correct.
But
So
the fact that you've done
because
that
now
is a
we're
bonus,
doing,
isn't it?
you know,
That is a selling
yeah,
point, isn't it?
because they used to do 2 things and I used to do 2 things, but now together we're actually doing 10 different
You
services.
offer your
We're
customers more.
We're
Yeah.
offering a lot more.
Yeah.
Because of my knowledge and their knowledge and what they do. But sometimes you need someone to come in from the outside and sort of say, well, why don't you do this? Why don't you tell people you're doing this?
Yeah.
Well, you just don't think of it because you just think it's something that you're doing.
Yeah. One of the things we spoke about in the break, I'm going to repeat it to the room because I think it might be useful to people, is find a friend that maybe doesn't know your business that well. Set them up and say, okay, so we were talking about this, weren't we? And I said, okay, find a friend that maybe hasn't been on your website before. We're using your website as an example. Okay, find an associate that maybe doesn't know your business that well, and say, okay, you're a coach of a kids football club. They have got into the final of a match. You want to buy some scarves and hats. You want 20 or 30 scarves and hats for the parents and friends and things that are going to come and watch. So just set them up. Tell them who they are, what they're looking to buy. Then give them your website. Give them the website of one of your competitors that you perceive to be not as good as you, and the website of one of your competitors that you perceive to be better than you, if there is one. If not, just one that's about the same will do. And basically just give them those 3 websites and go and look on these websites as if that is what you are trying to do, and make notes or dictate it into their phone or something, whatever's easiest for them. And then have a chat with them afterwards. Take them out for coffee or something, or for lunch, and get their feedback. It was a really valuable thing that we did with Steph not long after you started the business, didn't we? Started working with the business. And we got Steph to go on to time-lapse companies' websites. I think she just went and Googled and found some, actually. We didn't tell her who to look at. And compare them to ours. And she did this fantastic sort of report thing that basically went, well, they're talking about this and this and this, and we're not. But we show more examples of what we do, and they don't. We come across as potentially in a bit of a stronger position because we're this kind of agency style business that just does more than that. So it shows that we think about how the application of what we're doing, rather than just shoving a camera up and creating a video at the end of it. There's a bit more thinking that happens. So it can be really valuable to just get an outside perspective, because it's really hard to look at your own marketing from your customer's point of view. So get someone else to do it, ask somebody to help you out. And you can do that not just with your website, but with other bits of your marketing. Write a company description and send it to somebody and say,
We've started to.
yeah.
Got a few contacts that I knew, and sort of said, well, can you come in and have a look at what I'm doing now?
Yeah.
Because I trust this guy. I've known him for a long time, and he came in last week. Basically, gave us £2 grand's worth of books and things that he sells to other companies, and said, use these for now because I know you need to find where you're going.
Yeah.
And we've talked today, haven't we, that we're going to contact each other in a few weeks and do the same sort of.
Yeah. Brilliant idea. Yeah, and if you've got clients that have been really long-term clients, ask their opinion. Especially if you're going to launch something new, go, okay, actually, I've got this product line in mind, or I'm going to do this piece of marketing, or I'm redesigning my website. Get their opinion. We've done it before because actually it's really hard when it's your own business to do it yourself. Yeah. It's the same with copy.
Your best customer, as well as. Would you take a range of your customers?
You could do, I suppose. Yeah, ones that you've had really long-term relationships with, and maybe ones that you've only just started working with.
Size of customer.
Yeah, because actually you will get different perceptions for people. So you've either there. Because if you go to a small customer and you go to a big customer, or a customer from this industry and a customer from that industry, you are going to get conflicting opinions for them. And that can be, then you're stuck in a point of going, well, who do I listen to? So what you're better off doing is picking one that's your ideal customer. So we've just done a rebrand with a company that does, they're a joinery company, and they do kitchens and staircases and timber sash windows. And their market is fairly high end, but they're not the most expensive. And we did all of the customer profiling stuff with him. And what he was brilliant at it. He went away and spoke to one of his best customers that they have a really good relationship with, and asked him why he uses them. It was as simple as that, and we got so much useful information. And then he went, okay, well, he's got a fair bit amount of money, but he's not lavish with it. So he invests when he spends it on really good quality stuff. He runs his own business, he drives a Land Rover or something, and he goes on holiday here, and he built this profile up of this customer, and we were able to go, okay, so what is it about him that makes him your ideal customer? So he now has this really clear picture that he can communicate to the rest of his team as well, of what their ideal customer looks like and what the kind of people they're trying to target look like. And it just meant that as we rebranded him, it actually made that process easier for us as well. I came up with as we were going through the process, I already started to get these kind of images in my head of the sort of imagery we can use and types of fonts and colours and things like that will suit them perfectly, even the photography style we're going to be looking at as well. And it just made that whole process so much easier, because we realised as we went down the same process that actually we were on exactly the same page. What he felt about his customers and his business, he was able to communicate to us really clearly. We were able to kind of iron out all the kinks and suspicions that he had, and maybe things that he thought about the business that weren't necessarily true. And I came up with a set of concepts, and there's one of them that they really love. Still waiting for feedback from his business partner, but it just made that process. Whereas before, if we go and do like logo design for a client that we're not doing a full branding process with, it's a bit of a stab in the dark. And normally they're then just telling you what they like and dislike, and you're doing designs based on them, not their customers. And we try to do as much research as we can, but if they're not willing to do that thinking and that planning with us, it actually makes it harder. And we'll often go through 3, 4, 5 sets of concepts before they get something they like.
Design, we do quite a bit of design, and without a tight customer brief, okay, they know what they don't want, but they never know what they want. So
yeah, or they think they know what you want, but they don't know how to tell you what they want.
Submitting designs, and
yeah,
it becomes unprofitable.
Yeah, so really thinking about what you're doing, and thinking about who you're targeting and what it is you want to tell them really makes life so much easier going forward. We found we actually got a professional copywriter outside of our business to write the copy for our website. We've had our copy done twice now over the last 3 or 4 years, and having done that means that actually when we do create flyers for ourselves and things like that in-house, we've got a really good bank of copy that we know speaks to our customers in the right way. We've gone for something a little bit more light-hearted and quirky. So there's a few kind of subtle jokes in some of the content that we've written, and we've been quite light-hearted with it because that fits our brand. We want to come across as creative and fun and quirky, but showing people that we're reliable and we're a big enough team to support them. So it's, we've decided our tone of voice, and we've decided what's going to speak to the sort of people that we want to do business with, the people that want something a little bit different, that want something better than just a website presence. They want a really good website presence, and getting across how we are as a brand, attracts the right people to us, basically. So having done all that thinking and getting all that stuff together really does help when you come to create stuff, because it makes it seemingly so much easier, because you already know who you're targeting, you've got the words or the tone of voice at least, and you know what streams you're going to try next. And we also had a conversation earlier about measuring it. We were having a chat in the break as well about that, weren't we? So any marketing that you do, put something in place to measure it. So you can do things like getting different phone numbers, and they are just tracking marketing phone numbers that allow you to see how many calls you've had from that number. So if you're doing a flyer, put a different phone number on it. Something really basic that an email marketing company does is they say, call and ask for Emma. Emma doesn't exist, but they know that when somebody goes, oh, I've got your flyer, I'd like to speak to Emma, please. Well, Emma's not in the office today, but I can help you with that inquiry, and they know exactly where that's come from. So it can be as simple as that. You don't have to buy phone numbers and different email addresses and different web addresses. Just as simple as getting somebody to quote a name or a reference when they phone. Can be really good ways of tracking stuff. If you're driving traffic to your website, Google Analytics is one of the easiest things you can put in it. And I know quite a few people in the room have that on their websites. But if you're going to put out a piece of marketing that's driving traffic to your website, how do you know if that's worked if you're not able to go on there and look at the statistics for that page and see who's looking at it? You measure everything, because then you know what's working and you know what is a complete waste of money. And you won't do it again, or you'll change it slightly. Sometimes it may be that it doesn't work, but it's not because the medium is wrong, it's just because the message is wrong. So I would say tweak it first, ditch it second. Okay, right, so let's have a quick look at what we had up next, because we have juggled a few things around today. Okay, so I put together a section about sort of things that you can do to sort of aid your own online presence. And I know that a lot of you are already on social media and have websites and things like that, so it's kind of not quite as relevant as I thought it was going to be. But it would be really interesting to know, maybe just by a quick show of hands, and then perhaps we'll have a quick chat about it, about who has certain things online. So, does anybody have a Google business listing? No? Okay. Do you have one? Yeah. So Google Business Listing is one of the easiest things that you can set up. There is a verification process, which is a little bit of a pain. But once you've got it there, it's basically just a location-based listing on their map. But it means, if you type in Epix Media Lincoln, you will see all the links to our website, as you would on Google normally. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a map with a pinpoint in it, our logo that we've uploaded. Oh yeah, you could just open it on my laptop. There is a screen grab on my slides actually. Well, yeah, if you flick through, you'll see it. I forgot. I've just ditched the slides altogether. Pretend they're not there. And it just gives you a location-based listing, and you can click through to your website. You can people can review you on it if they really want to, because I think it was tied into Google+. So there you go. I googled Epix Media Lincoln. That's our normal listing that comes up because we've searched for our name. We get all these nice site links as well, and that's our Google business listing. So it's got our address, it's got our phone number. What's really nice about this on a mobile as well is it's normally the thing that appears at the top of the mobile search, and you can click on the phone number to call it. So if somebody's got a meeting with you, or they're coming to see you for some reason, or they just want to give you a call for whatever, and they search for your business, they can just click on it and ring you straight away. They don't even need to go on your website. And there's loads of extra things you can put in, like opening hours, you can upload videos and multiple photos to this as well. Our images aren't actually coming up on here, but hey ho. And then you've got things like directions and write reviews. I don't think anybody's bothered reviewing us on Google. But it's a really easy way to just make yourself findable on Google, you know, especially if you're in a industry that's really competitive. So I imagine that that's the case for you with, you know, with any fashion item for that matter. It's an incredibly competitive place on Google, and you know, if you're up against companies like Debenhams for keywords to do with any fashion item, you've just got no hope, have you? Because they're chucking ridiculous amounts of budget at it. Whereas, you know, things like that may just help, and that's why social media is so good as well. So who's on social media? Any kind of social media. So is everybody on LinkedIn? Yeah, you're not on LinkedIn. You need to be on LinkedIn. But you as yourself are on there.
Oh, I am.
Yeah, brilliant. I spoke to a LinkedIn expert the other day, and he doesn't seem to think that it's worth having a company page anymore. He just doesn't think people look at them. It's like, you might as well just make sure you've got good links to your website in your profile. The other good thing about social media is it does appear when people search for you on Google. So you'll notice if you search for us, everything underneath there is our LinkedIn accounts, our Twitter accounts. I think there's like a directory. Oh, Yell.com comes up. I didn't even know we were on Yell.com, and so it's nice of them to add us. So yeah, it's good because lots of stuff comes up. And it's good social proof. People can click on my LinkedIn and see that I've got recent recommendations from customers on there, not just stuff from 2 years ago, recent stuff on there. And they can see that we're members of groups and that we're kind of active on there, but probably not as active as we should be. Then they can go onto my Twitter, because that'll appear on there as well, and see that I'm regularly tweeting, I'm engaging with people, we're sharing interesting stuff with people, and that we're putting ourselves out there. And what all of that does ultimately is it shows people that we're not going anywhere. We're making an effort to communicate with people, so we must be good communicators, and we must be reasonably trustworthy and secure, because we're putting ourselves out there. If you're a company that hides away, people are going to ask why. What I would also say on social media is, despite what certain gurus will tell you, you don't need to be on everything. Be on the channels that are right for you, and be on the channels that you have time to maintain, because there's nothing worse than a Twitter account that hasn't been posted on for 6 months, or a Facebook account for that matter that's exactly the same. So choose what you're going to do and do it well. So we don't do any Facebook marketing because our audience is not on Facebook. So we focus on doing Twitter and doing Twitter well. Probably a better way of saying that, but we do Twitter well. So yeah, whatever you choose to do it to the best of your ability, and put the time in. Be realistic about it as well. If you don't have the time, it's probably just worth not bothering, rather than having an empty profile sat there, because that looks strange, and people are going to ask why. Okay. That is, I think, everything that we decided we were going to cover today.